Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just trying to, again, baby TikToker here, just trying to get all this sorted out. Hi, Michael. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are getting started here today. Just want to, again, I kind of keep switching it up. I feel like it started in this very kind, nice way where I was like, oh, anybody who's MAGA, we want to know what you're thinking and feeling. And I feel like we're so beyond this point of having to placate and acquiesce even to their gullibility. And so I'm no longer that person. I really don't care. Like, if you're MAGA and you're on, that's awesome. And hi, you're welcome to speak. But this is really a space for people who know what the fuck is up and see that it's gone. We're done. It's over. So how are we going to get through this? How do we move forward from now on? I see I have a guest. I literally just hit the live button. So give me a sec just to welcome everyone and then I'll invite you up. But ultimately just wanted to, again, share that we have to start thinking, I'm sorry. We have to start thinking ahead, thinking how we're going to get through this, thinking about what we want to see once we're on the other side of it. To that end, I have created a safe space for you all at standwithsophie.com. I am offering survival trainings where we will literally go through your phone and make sure that your identity is protected, that you have all the vulnerabilities hardened that we could possibly do, that you're making sure nobody's forwarding your phone that you don't know about. We'll go through all the little buttons. We'll talk about things that you might need as far as having a stash of extra cash money, going ahead and starting to do the work to get some extra medications in case things go awry. I have lists of gear that you might want to start stocking up on. And this isn't to be like, oh, we're trying to go, oh, yeah, it's beyond paranoia. It's just facing the reality of what's happening right now in our current situation. So yeah, it's absolutely that time, you guys. So if you're ready to get some guidance on how to not just be mired in a fear, this isn't us trying to be preppers, We also have to build our community and make sure that we can rely on each other should things go awry. So I'm just trying to make sure that, if something does go down, you have the ability to just say a code word and your phone automatically sets off a string of steps that contacts your emergency contacts with your location, starts a recording process going. So, in case you're being detained or you get pulled over or you're being raided, you have all of that ready and prepared. So we're not trying to get to a point where, something happens and you're not ready, but we're also just trying to make it more of like a set it and forget it process. So I have every other Saturday, I have a training where we, again, go through and harden your device and make sure, you're cutting down with your budget and doing all kind of things to, again, prepare you should something happen, but not keep you in this permanent paranoia, like my friend said. So, come on to standwithsophie.com. It is that time, you guys. So let's see. I do see some comments coming in. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, Billy, it is to live your best life. We don't want to be mired in worry, all the time. So if you have your go bag ready, you're great. If you have a generator, and the power goes out, great. If you have the ability to have paper maps on hand, so if the internet's off, you don't have to worry about where you're going to go. If you have the plan in place now, that's the point. It's not to be like, oh, we're constantly scared, So yeah, that's kind of the deal. Yeah, we're just worried about the fact that you could get disappeared at any time, but not me, because I don't live there. So, again, I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that I'm not going to be disappeared by Donald Trump. I'm not worried about getting taken to El Salvador. So let me be your sword and your shield in this moment. Again, go to standwithsophie.com And let's just, again, do these set it and forget it practices so that we can be prepared should something happen. But if it doesn't, that's awesome. But the fact that so many people are already being touched by not just the disappearings, but I mean, the firings. So many people lost their job. So many people are being affected by the stock market and the economy. We're already barreling towards a recession. So if we can start implementing things right now, again, where you're doing a budget, taking away anything that's unnecessary as far as streaming services or whatever the hell. If I can show you how to pirate, I probably shouldn't say that, but anything I can do to help you to cut back on costs. We can ride the high seas instead of having Netflix, if that'll save you enough money to, again, start getting a little bit of an emergency fund in place. So we want to go through all of those things in my biweekly trainings. I'm also going to try to do the Today in the Fourth Reich weeknightly. So this is my first time back in a while. I've been doing some retooling. So the website's all ready. I have secure comms available. So just like Pete Hegseth is on Signal, so are we. And so we have all the messaging systems set up. We have broadcast systems set up through just WhatsApp broadcast channels and things. And so, yeah, it's really real. It's really real right now. Billy, you have a lot to say. Is that you on the? I have a guest who's wanting to come up. YT Emperor God, hello. Let me go ahead and let you up, my friend. Hi, YT.
Yeah, you need to stop with this weird shit and go get the gym membership going.
No, that's a big part of it. That's a huge part of it. Huge, no pun intended. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, I couldn't run for 30 seconds straight if my life depended on it, and it probably will at some point. So, like, what do you do to stay in shape? Because I need some tips.
Go to the gym in the morning, ma'am.
What's your? Do you do HIIT? Do you do?
I have a schedule where I do chest, legs, arms, everything. I have a schedule, cardio before.
Okay. What kind of cardio?
Cardio and improve your diet, ma'am. And you might actually feel better about yourself. And you wouldn't be here with a weird background, honestly, if you felt better about yourself.
Oh no, I'm like, the thing about it is I walk 3 miles a day. I have a really decent diet, but I have what's called polycystic ovarian syndrome.
It's the decent thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Because the thing is, like, if you're like, remember, I don't know if you saw the video. Hold on one second. I don't know if you saw the video of Rumeysa Öztürk. She was a Turkish student who was disappeared, essentially. I feel like if I were in her situation and people started to crowd around me, my first instinct would probably be to book it, but I wouldn't go very far. So I agree with you. One of the things I actually want to start incorporating is like a couch to, hold on a second. It's like a couch to 5K kind of a thing where we can all start to kind of build our endurance up, build up how far we can run, how fast we can run. Because, I mean, you're absolutely right. Your health and your ability to be mobile is extremely important in this moment. Again, not that everybody's going to get, disappeared, but the fact that now Trump is talking about going after homegrowns and going after American citizens.
What are you talking about?
Right. What do you think?
We're talking about you and your weird background.
Well, what do you?
It's nothing to do with some lady in Turkey. This has nothing to do with Trump. And this is about you and why you're on this weird shit.
What's your problem with my background?
Do you even know what a Nazi does?
What's your problem with my background?
Ma'am, do you even know what a Nazi does?
No, what does a Nazi do?
I guarantee you do not know what a Nazi does, okay?
Well, tell me, what does a Nazi do, YT?
Ma'am, I'm not here to fucking educate you, okay? Honestly, you have this background and shit up, and you don't even know what it means, honestly. It's like you outing yourself as a goofball right now. I don't think you even realize that.
Well, I mean, do you have a question?
No, ma'am. Why aren't you doing better? Here's my question. Why aren't you doing better?
How could I do better?
You can go ahead and end this live right now and just go take a fucking walk and think about yourself.
Well,
think about your life right now and how you can be useful.
To come up as a guest
how you can
And
be
so I'm
useful.
happy to have you on if you have something to contribute to the conversation, or if you
You
think
have no idea what
me.
a fucking Nazi is. If you're going to
So here's
compare
the
Donald
thing.
Trump to
You
Hitler,
feel as though there's nothing you
you're
can learn from me,
so
correct?
idiotic, honestly. No, 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 no.
YT, there's
You
you.
need
So
to
what you're
end this
saying is
live
that
and go
there's
take a
nothing at
run
all that you can
because
get from me.
you
So
need to
why are you still
go on a
here?
diet and
And
go
I
take a run.
appreciate the engagement. Thank you so much
You're such a fucking
for
retard.
helping me to get some internet points and all. I mean, you don't have to go. I just would like to know what you think about things. All right. Well, I don't know how to say your
Hey,
name,
I just wanted to say you can't listen to idiots like that, dude. He has no clue. Trump is doing the exact same thing the H man and every other authoritarian done. Attacked education, attacked the press, attacked the lawyers, attacked the judges, disobey laws.
media.
You can't worry about trolls like that on here. Honey, you're in the right. Keep educating the dumb. But that dude's just a troll. Good for you. I'm a 60-year-old veteran. I'm a 60-year-old veteran. I know what they did in World War II. My uncles fought there. And these people are just plain stupid. He's following the playbook Putin and the Chinese guy both did. I'm sorry it's on your live. I apologize. Didn't mean to say that.
Okay.
But he's following the same. It's very easy to look up. Trump supporters are just naive and stupid.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
No,
But good for you.
the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Literally,
And it's obvious. It's not even like he's hiding it. It's obvious. But he's going to get shut down, honey. Trust me, as a veteran, being my age, Trump is a failure his whole life, and he will fail at this. I promise you.
And I hope
He's
so.
a lifetime failure. The people that follow him are failures. That's why they follow him. You got nothing to worry about. And when the shit hits the fan, trust me, he'll go down like a house of cards.
I mean, the sad thing is, we're all kind of going down with them. I mean, we've
Well,
lost
we
our
got to take our bumps and bruises for freedom now. Every generation got to take their bumps and bruises for freedom. So remember that.
It's
Just the first.
between bumps and bruises and being, knocked out cold. And I feel like we're.
I want you to think back to the Civil War and how many people died to protect the right that we're fighting for right now. The only thing is nobody's really dying. We're letting it's a civil war in the government.
Well, we're the frog in the pan, in the pot, and so
I like to think
being like in mass.
I like to think that we're the voice in Congress, and sooner or later, because that's where we have our say. In the Senate and in the House. That's where the people speak. But he shut that down. And they don't even realize that he shut them down too.
Yeah, the whole legislative branch is done.
Yes,
yes. So, people are like, oh, well, when midterms come around and when midterms this, and I'm like, there's not going to be, even if there are midterms, even if the Democrats manage to take back the House and Senate or either one, it won't make a difference if he doesn't listen to them anyway. So
now, here's the funny thing. Like the H-man.
It doesn't even matter. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The guy you got up there, the H-man, most of the country, when he was doing it, they were saying the same thing these idiots were saying. Exactly. They just didn't believe it until it was all over. And it was too late.
In fact,
and you know what?
Sorry, what?
Trump is just not smart enough to pull this off.
He's never been. God, that's the only bit of luck that we've had thus far.
He's a lifetime failure and loser. Period.
Like the H guy got it done in 53 days, and we're almost at 90 days. And
well, no, wait. He's been doing this since 2015. Got it in 6. This is his 5th year as president, and he still ain't done nothing. In 5 years, nothing. Worst 100 days of any president that goes down history, and he's the 3rd worst president in our history, ranked, and a dead president who died 3 days into office. What was his name? Garfield? I don't remember his name.
Wear his coat.
He ranks higher than Trump. The dude was alive for 3 days.
Oh my God.
And they think it's rigged against Trump. Well, my news goes with the rest of the world while you guys listen to 2 news places that were sued for billions.
Yeah.
And they lied to you. And you still listen to it.
The thing about it is, like, I'm that's one of the things I'm trying to share is that sure, you can keep listening to mainstream media, that's fine, but there's so many amazing independent journalists out there that are really like even the protests that are happening there, those are just now getting mainstream media attention when we're like 2 weeks into you know, people coming out in mass to really go against Trump, which is nice. But yeah, you're right. Just the parallels are paralleling. I mean, so
you could even take the El Salvador. You could take any dictatorship right now and just look up what they did prior to taking office.
Yeah,
and it's a playbook. It's happened all over Central and South America.
As recent as Hungary or like Orban, like that's current day. People think the H-man and stuff is so long ago, even, and it's like no, you're exactly right. It's the same thing happening. But like honestly. What would your advice be? But what would your advice be to people who are in this moment as a veteran? Like
as a veteran, as a veteran, I'm gonna say if you're on the wrong side, you're gonna find out soon.
It's sad. It's really sad, and I wish.
I mean, they attacked the Capitol on a lie, but you're talking about many people defending the truth. It's gonna be a little different.
I think so too, and it's scary, but also
not scary at all. That's why I signed up. I'm ready to put my foot up an ass.
Oh, hey, listen, you got to go to standwithsophie.com. Sign up there, and
I'm gonna look that up.
Kind of build a little.
I know you want to get some opposition in here to get some views.
No. Here's the thing. I don't give a shit about what they think. Like honestly,
ain't it fun to you guys? See, I don't argue with them. I just tell them the states. Like this guy who was in before.
Yeah.
Obviously has no idea what he's talking about because he definitely didn't look up how H-man got into power or any of these people got into power. Now, am I going to say we're going to be the F word? No, but we're going to be whatever Trump wants it to be if he can control everything.
I mean, it's weird.
The guy that was deported?
Pretty much there.
I'm sorry, nobody really cares about the guy who was deported. We care about the rule of law. If you want to pick that guy and use him, that's fine. But it's the rule of law we're fighting for.
And I'm sorry, I feel like I keep talking over you, but I don't have like headphones on, so I can't hear you too well. But the way that he is flouting, he's already flouted the legislative branch. That's done. So now he's flouting the judicial branch, even though he's got his own people in there. So it's kind of like, okay, if you're not even listening to the people who are supposed to be your folks when they're trying to tell you it's a 9-0 decision, a 7-2 decision. We're trying to tell you that this is not going to work. You are not going down the right path with this. And
he also broke a lot of. All right, so there were people who passed laws, right? Went through Congress where he writes an executive order to break it. All right,
exactly.
And it happened to be with a lot of things overseas, other countries, trade deals. That's breaking promise. Nobody's going to trust us again. These people think we're going to have trade to who?
Yeah, we're done.
Who? Who's going to trade with us after he broke all the deals that he made, especially since he made the deal with Canada and Mexico in 2018 and signed it into law. When he got back in office, he said it was a terrible deal.
Yeah, even though that
I agree with you, but then he tried to say Biden did it. Yeah. The man's he's a complete. Look, I'm from Connecticut, right outside New York City. This man has been in my news for 50 years. He's the biggest loser I've ever seen in my life. We used to make fun of him on Howard Stern. Go on. He literally bankrupted 2 casinos, but we wouldn't even when he opened them up, we wouldn't go to his. Why? They were crap. Nobody liked this man up here. That's why he left New York to go to Florida, where the stupid people live. And he ran down there because he could never win in New York. He was a lifelong Democrat in New York. He gave money to the Clintons all the time when she was senator. Him and Bill went to Epstein Island together all the time. So, to me, he's a Democrat.
I mean, well, the thing about it is, like, he's not anything. Like, he's not a Democrat. He's not a Republican. He's not a Christian. He's not an atheist. He is a grifter.
He's a greedy person like Elon Musk, right? He's anything you want. He's whatever he needs to be in front of whoever he's in front of at the time.
And so the reason he even got into office is because he hates the same people that MAGA hates. You know? And unfortunately, they don't understand that he also hates them.
Well,
he hates them. He doesn't give a shit about them. He
could go on to Howard Stern and go back. How many times he says he hates poor people on Howard Stern, but that's all that votes for this guy.
Exactly. So because they think, oh, he hates black people, Jewish people, he hates all these people.
No, he hates everybody.
Yeah, but
he hates white people too. He hates poor white people.
Exactly. So they're finding out a little bit now. More and more of them will start to find out. But it's just like you said, like that. And it's just sad to me that it takes that. It takes them losing their federal job or their prices going up or them losing their Christmas pay because they're.
May I ask how old you are?
Tariffs, you know.
May I ask how old you are?
I'm 42.
Okay, so you might remember, Bill Clinton did this exact same thing. Maybe a little young for you, but Bill Clinton did exactly what Trump's trying to do, without tariffs, by passing laws.
Yeah.
And he cut the deficit. We had a surplus of $3 trillion when he left office. And he did everything by the book. He cut spending. He cut employment for federal government. He cut the deficit. Well, there was no deficit. But George Bush,
got rid of it.
the second George Bush, said, if I become president, that I'll give the $3 trillion back to the people. And checks of $350 each. And that's how he won.
Yeah, and did we see any of that? No, not at all.
But technically, he lost by votes like Trump did.
He did.
So, with 2 of the last 3 Republican presidents, Trump being twice, they didn't even win the popular vote.
What's funny is I was in Florida, in Tallahassee, Florida, when George W. was when that whole thing was happening. And I remember like having a sleep in at the Capitol building, and we were going to fight to make sure Jeb Bush didn't, and Jeb Bush did. We woke up to, Bush being president, and we, and in that moment in the year, was it 2000? I was so disenfranchised with.
But you learned about the Electoral College at that time. So
yeah, but it also, I think that has stuck with me. Like for a long time, I didn't vote. I was just done with the whole political process. I do understand the power of the vote now, and have been a voter for many, many years. But I think this whole idea of protest, of peaceful, civil disobedience and all this bullshit, like that, to me, that's what's ineffectual. That does nothing. Like, so I'm happy to see all of these people out here protesting. I think it does prove a point, especially when it's like white people doing it. Like, wow, that's pretty amazing. But like,
white guy.
But at the same time, I don't see that protests are going to do anything. I don't see that Congress is going to do anything. I don't see that Cory Booker's standing up and doing a 25-hour speech.
But it really does.
That was. It's not going to do anything.
But it does. All right, so it's like in boxing. You get punched in the kidney a couple times, it doesn't bother you. But after the 5th or 6th time, you start to feel it. Every time a Democrat does something, it's chipping away. It's showing everybody, look at what's going right. Now, you're going to tell me Bernie Sanders and AOC, they're more than chipping away. They knocking blocks off.
Okay.
Here's your proof right there.
Yeah.
And they're in red states, pulling giant crowds.
True. That's
right?
a good sign.
So let that be your right. Let that be your positivity. Now, can we know it all, end all? No, because some charismatic Republican that ain't like Trump might come out of the woods and say, "I'm running on the Republican ticket, but I'm not like him," and that might bring old Republicans like me back.
No.
So it really depends, right? If I know he's not a Trump supporting, idea, if he goes back to the old conservative way, which the party is not, maybe I might. I would think about it. But do I like AOC's energy? Absolutely. Do I like Cory Booker's energy? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what they do is going to make a difference when it comes down to who's running for president.
But I guess that's my thing. Like I feel like I've been calling it, and I hate that I've been calling like the whole signal thing. When the first one happened, I was like, nothing's gonna happen. Nobody's gonna get fired. Nothing's gonna happen, and that's what happened. And now the Pete Hegseth one, where he specifically was caught on his own signal chat with his wife and his brother. You know,
well, I want to say to that, as being military, I'm surprised and I'm a little shocked. But Elon Musk 2 weeks ago was in the Pentagon, firing everybody who wasn't for Trump. So don't be too surprised.
Well,
so anybody who would have stood up to him got fired.
But Pete
before
this isn't going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
And our military hates it.
Well,
Trust
and the thing about it is, this is another H-man corollary. He did the same thing where he basically got rid of all the people who were competent and put in yes men. So now that Hegseth, the yes man, is in place, Trump's not getting rid of him. And
he
so
doesn't have one competent person.
But that's not the point. He doesn't want competent people. And in fact, the people who are
he wants to call all the shots. Well, like H-man.
Right, but the people who are competent are the ones who are behind the scenes telling him about, oh, you can use this Alien Enemies Act to do this. Or
I want to bring this up, though. Do we really know how many people have been deported? Do we really know how many brown people have had to leave this country?
Oh, my God.
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know if we caught anyone.
That said, where is this person? Where is this person?
I made a post on my thing. You'll see it. It says, we have Russians, Italians, Israelis, Irish, all here illegally, but not one deported. I wonder why.
Exactly. So I mean,
because he's after the brown people.
Oh yeah.
That's why.
Oh, yeah.
And it don't matter what brown, shade of brown, American Indian, Mexican, African American, Jamaican, Island. It don't matter what brown. He don't like brown. As a matter of fact, he bought Crayola crayons. The first crayon he threw out was brown. He didn't like it.
No, exactly. That's exactly right.
And look, like I said, from being up here in New York, the man would never win up here. We laughed him out. We laughed him out of here. Is pretty much what happened. But I'm actually from Connecticut. I'm just right on the border. The Greenwich.
Awesome. I used to work with this guy named Alex Kabaz, and he would make tailored shirts that were like $1,000 a piece. And so he taught me how to just do the buttons. That's all I did. Like I was there as his marketing guy, and he taught me how to do these buttons. And we would go in and out of Connecticut all the time to deliver, hand deliver.
On 95? On 95? Would you drive on 95 or take the train?
Oh yeah. We would drive. So whatever that.
You were driving on 95.
We would go to Long Island.
You would literally drive right past my house because my house could be seen from the highway from 95.
Oh, I wish I'd spent more time.
Drive right by my house, yeah.
But that's like literally, that's the only time I'd ever been in Connecticut, was just dropping off.
I love it here. We got a lot of good people here.
Yeah.
Running our state. They're mostly Democrats. Mostly
what all this is about, Like
I actually live in a Republican town, the town of Greenwich, which is always Republican here. Mm-hmm. But it did not vote for Trump. Down ballot because we like our senators and our governors. And it's mostly Democrat though, but yeah, Trump didn't win here. He ain't never gonna win up here. Not in Connecticut, not New York, not Massachusetts. No, none of them states. Maybe Maine.
You're confident that we're going to have another presidential election to be had?
No, I'm not. So I said we might have to get ready to put feet up asses, but no, I'm not confident. I don't see him coming out of the White House quietly. Absolutely not.
No, I don't either.
We're going to have to literally drag him out.
I think so too.
Which, you know what? The Trump supporters, literally, you can't be that smart to be one. So how scared of them are you? I'm not at all. And I'm very vocal where I am. I see a Trump hat, Trump shirt. I'm very vocal. I had the FBI at my house telling me I got to stop bothering my neighbors.
What?
But I told them, I said, no, sir. I said, right now, they are the people that are threatening my country. Yeah. If I did something to be arrested, arrest me. Until then, leave me alone.
Yeah, freedom of speech, right?
It's just like, yeah,
First
absolutely.
Amendment rights,
And
right?
he's like, just don't threaten to kill nobody. So I ain't threatening to kill nobody. I just said to make America great again, you gotta unalive MAGA. That's all I said.
Well,
Gotta get rid of them.
I mean, the thing is, like, I fear that they're lost. You know, I don't think there's anything you could do apart from that. But the thing about it is, I'm starting to see it as a positive. You know how in scary movies, you know, it'll be a couple of people running from the bad guy, and one of them trips. You know, and
Yeah, that'd be me. I'd be the dude.
and that's what gives that person the edge to get away. I kind of feel like that's what MAGA is to me now. You know, they're the ones who are going to run towards the villain. You know, they're the ones who are.
Well, they already did.
Themselves.
They ran towards him, had some Kool-Aid with them.
They're drinking it themselves. Yeah. So,
Now they keep following it like there was fentanyl in the Kool-Aid. Yo, give me some Kool-Aid, yo.
yeah. So keep following him. Keep believing it, because when the shit goes down, you will be the first. You know, and it'll hopefully give us that few seconds we need to get away. I mean, luckily, I've escaped. I don't live there anymore, thank goodness. So, you know, I feel like that's why what I'm trying to do with Stand with Sophie is so different, because, you know, I don't think he can touch me here. I don't think he can take me out.
He can't touch me here. I'll go outside right now.
But you have a few more advantages, I think, than perhaps I might.
I invite people to come touch me. Come.
You know, yeah, but
I tell people I'll give you my address. Don't punk down there.
No, don't do it to him. Don't do it to him.
No, I'll be telling them.
But that's another thing.
But I see you coming up my driveway. I don't know. You're going to hear shots.
But yeah, if you are there, get your pew-pews, get your ammo, stock up, get bear.
And that's the thing. Like, they think they're the only one that have pew-pews.
They do. They do. In fact, what's so funny is I learned recently that the only reason we have any sort of gun control, pew-pew control, is that the Black Panthers were going around.
They got a lot of people.
Weaponry.
I'm talking about friends of mine that are Democrats up here. Friends of mine that refuse to join stupid groups, but are trained with pew-pews, and they're Democrats and they have them.
Mm-hmm. I have my concealed weapons
permit. So when they start saying, well, they're trying to take our guns away, who?
Yeah, nobody has ever.
Oh, no. There was one person that did. No, there was one person that did. His name was Donald Trump. And he did exactly say, I'll worry about due process later. I'll take your guns and worry about due process later.
What?
He actually said that.
I didn't even know that.
Look it up. You can look it up right now.
I believe you.
I mean, but I want you to see it so you can use it as fire.
Oh, my God.
You use it as fire. He's the only person I know that ever said, I will take your guns and worry about due process later. And it was right after the shooting in Florida. What school was that? God, so many. And I had a relative die in the Newtown.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Newtown, Connecticut. Yes. So, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I could honor his name. I can honor his name. James Mattioli. Rest in peace, bud. So, yeah, he was the only one that I know that ever said, I'll take your guns and worry about it later. Just Trump. And said it on TV, on the news, in the Oval Office, I think it was. Or they were at some meeting, and I was like, really? And they're still going to stand behind this dude? And they did. But anybody could look that up. Anybody could look that up.
No, I mean, I believe it.
The only person I ever know.
But Trump's kind of like the Bible. Like, you can literally find anything you want that he said, because he was pro-life, then he was pro-choice, and then he was pro-life again, and then and then he was anti-weapons, and that then he was not racist, and then he was racist, and then, like, literally there's something for everything. There's something for everything. So like
he's whatever he needs to be in front of whoever he's in front of.
So he can grift.
He is never the alpha male in any meeting, and you see that when he's on stage, whoever's there seems to be always in charge.
Yo, I noticed that too.
Whether it's Putin or the El Salvador guy or the Chinese, no matter who it is. You know
why?
Is the alpha because he's a punk.
Yeah, but also he can't read.
No, he's not a bright guy. No, he's not
No, no,
bright.
no. He
Trump,
he is functionally illiterate. Like he
Kenny
literally
got a third grade speaking level. So
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm much smarter, but I'm smarter in third grade.
I think most of us are
But
at
they
least
said, yeah. I mean, that's why he has problems talking. He uses but that's why the simple people love him. Well, he does it so we understand. Well, shit, if he needs to talk like that to understand, you must be 6.
Exactly.
For
You know
your
what's so funny? I do these like satirical posts as my Republican congresswoman alter ego. And so I have a law where instead of 1 vote, everybody gets 100 votes, but you get votes taken away if whatever's a resolution or bill on the table doesn't apply to you. So like, I almost think like this might be a good moment for us all in a way, because if we look at the fact that if Trump disappeared today, not only are we too far gone with our economy, with our allies, with just our legality, but we would essentially have to go back to the same system that produced him in the first place.
Well, I want to remind you something that the H-man, that all ended around the late 1940s, but by the 1970s and 80s, Germany was back in it. Doesn't take long to regroup with good people.
But how do we want to rebuild our country? Because we can't do it in a way that's just going to get us right back here again.
I think Trump taught us a valuable lesson. I like it the way it is. I like our Constitution. I like our laws. So right now we have a grifter in there trying to break it. If we hold, that proves that our way is right. Just needs to be amended a little bit. And that's what amendments are for.
I guess that's my thing, though. I just don't see how we hold, and that's where I feel like we're just too far gone. You know, like and also, again, I feel like we would just be going back to the same system that would rather have this moron over the qualified Black woman who.
Well, I want to remind you about he did not run on attacking Canada with tariffs and our friends and attacking Panama and trying to take. He didn't run on anything he's doing.
But he did run on tariffs. He did run on mass deportation.
He did, and deportation. That's it.
He did run on attacking the media. He did run on going after all the people he had vendettas against. You know, so the fact that he did.
He's doing all the bad
stuff. 2025, even though
if he doesn't get the economy up in the next 6 months, the Republicans are going to lose the House and the Senate. No matter how difficult people may think it is, there's a lot of people my age out there to your age that see right now, that see how much money has been lost by the average person, and that he may be doing that on purpose.
Oh, he's definitely
the billionaires like all the Elon and the Facebook guy, all these guys, they could buy all these stocks back. The billionaires could buy the stocks back. It's the middle class and the upper middle class that's losing everything right now.
Right.
And the real rich, who has their hands in everything right now, can buy all that stock back and make it better. And I think that's the plan. That's even taking more power.
He already said it. I mean, remember he already posted, hey, you might want to get your stocks now, you know, or you might want to buy now.
And then a lot of people made money, yes.
But then he was like celebrating how much money they made when he made
court cases on that right now.
Yeah.
There's over 100 different court cases.
Sure, but he just defied the Supreme Court. So it's kind of like, okay, you can have all the court cases you want, but if there's nobody there to say, okay, we find you guilty, you know, here's your consequence, and he just says, I don't give a shit, I don't care, I'm not going to accept this, you know.
I have a feeling they're going to start going at. They're going to start nitpicking the little person under Trump. The people who are enabling Trump can get picked off a lot easier than the executive branch. But yeah, I mean, I don't see anything he's done so far that he said he was going to do, because nothing has He hasn't saved any money through
No.
those because they haven't produced any evidence that there was any money saved.
Waste, fraud, and abuse.
There's nothing nothing has been done. It's either held up in courts or held up in Congress, and Congress isn't doing anything. Only his executive orders. Believe me, I have a feeling the country, we're not that dumb as a country. Trust me. I've seen it come and go, but I don't think we're that dumb. I think people are waking up.
I would add another guess, but yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. El Duderino.
Good afternoon. How are y'all?
I'm so good. I gotta say, I love the Big Lebowski. Like, so I'm feeling your name, feeling your whole thing.
I appreciate that.
No, thanks. How are you? What did you want to come on and say? What was percolating up for you?
Oh, I just had some questions just about some of the things you guys were saying. One of the first things is, as I'm scrolling through here, your comment that first pops up in your comment section starts with "America is done."
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about, exactly what your thought process is with that statement.
Well, to me, it's just that when it comes to the three branches of government, baby, gotta go to bed. This one, 90
I don't think we're done.
You take it upstairs. There. Well, and the only reason I say that we're done is because I just don't see a way back from this. But also, let's take it back a little bit. I thought that we were done the second he didn't return those prisoners. When the judicial branch issued him a directive and he flouted it, and I know he tried to obfuscate and say, "Oh, they're already gone. They're already there. It's not."
Are you talking about Garcia or?
No, I'm talking before that. I'm talking when he sent all of those prisoners down in the first place, and he said, "No, baby, take it upstairs."
And I think Trump and Trump supporters are too stupid to actually pull anything big off.
Yeah.
So I ain't heard.
Yeah. So that was it for me. But then it's just escalated from here, where to where he's more and more blatantly defying the judicial side. And then also we were just talking about how when it comes to the legislative branch, he doesn't listen to them. Like, he literally has the House and the Senate, and does not use them to pass the laws for the tariffs or for any of these things. He just does a EO for.
So he's a liar. Mexico still never paid for that wall he never built.
Right.
So, Mr. Baggins, if I could just real quick.
Yeah,
if you're a Trump supporter, no, you can't real quick. I got no time for idiots.
I understand.
Okay, I hope
Mr.
so.
Baggins, we're gonna hear the dude, because he's the dude. What's up?
His dudeness, El Duderino, the dude, whatever you like. Anyway, so no, really though, I understand. We have different political opinions for sure.
No, we have a difference in I want the Constitution and you're against it because that's what he's breaking. I don't care about the dude that's in El Salvador. I care about the rule of law. I defended the Constitution.
That's kind of where I am.
Trump said he will honor and defend the Constitution, which he's destroying.
But
hey, look, man, I'm just.
I
don't dislike the guy.
No, I know.
Look, man, I'm just looking for just reasonable conversation. If that's not going to happen here, it's all good. I'll bow out. You guys can have a great day.
I would like for you to continue.
I just want to explain that being a vet.
No, you've explained very much how much you dislike the other party. I get it.
It's a Constitution thing. No, I know.
Okay,
I'm a Republican, dude. I am not a Democrat. I'm a lifelong.
Okay, great, man. You've made your case. I get it. I got it.
Listen, I want to hear what you have to say. And honestly, too, I will just preface though that I'm here to say that I do believe America is done, but I'm not trying to be alarmist. I know I'm sounding an alarm, but I'm also trying to offer some ways forward, some safe spaces. So I'm not just trying to bring a problem without a solution. So I will say I'm not trying to just, ring the bell without any reasoning for it. So I did provide why I do feel America is done. And I would like to know your response to that. Please continue.
Yeah, sure. So I don't think that any one administration, even with 2 terms, could break the country. I genuinely believe that. I believe that America is much greater than any one president.
Why? Like what gives you that that optimism?
Well, I mean, because I couldn't tell you exactly. I just sort of have that belief.
So we agree on the first thing you said.
See,
What's that?
Mr. Baggins?
That Trump is not big enough to destroy the country.
And
Yeah.
He
So
could hurt us
I-
in certain
disagree
ways.
with-
Anybody
and the only
could
reason I
hurt us,
disagree is because I don't think it's Trump necessarily. Like, I think Trump is a major symptom. He is the chicken pox we're seeing, but we're not looking at the actual underlying virus. I think him coming back is like shingles. But
At
like
57 years old, they still don't understand what Trump is for. Because being a conservative Republican my whole life, I've never seen anything like it.
well, again, I don't think.
Okay,
I don't
so
think
could
he is
I
what-
ask you a question? So is
Yeah,
your
sure.
name Sophie?
Yes.
Okay, I just didn't know what to call you. So Sophie, what do you believe is the underpinning for all of this that you were referring to?
The underpinning of like the country not being able to come back.
So you said that Trump was a symptom. So what do you believe the cause or the disease or however you'd like to phrase it? And I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just
No.
trying to ask questions in good faith.
I would put it down to white supremacy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, yep.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Simple. And the reason I say that is because if you look at all of our ails as a country, and then if you look at what Trump attacked first and foremost, and if you look at why he
which
was
is
brown and black people, and other people, and
Brown
Korean people, and DEI.
Don't be afraid to say it.
Yeah,
Brown
so
people. He don't like brown people.
Yeah, he doesn't like brown
His
black people.
cabinet
But the
don't
thing
like
is,
brown
too,
people.
he doesn't like poor people. So you could say he's
Right,
classist
yeah.
and racist and
Yeah.
sexist and misogynist and transphobic and
Yeah.
homophobic. He's all
And
that.
anybody that
I
brags
understand.
about grabbing them by the don't
Yeah.
respect women
Yeah.
either. So I mean, it just cracks me up. But
But again-
no, my
but again-
brother's for Trump. I don't hate my brother.
No,
You know?
but I'm just saying that's why I think that Trump is a symptom, because I think that he represents this emboldening of all the white supremacists out there and trans
That's trying to
folks out
force
there who are
Christianity on me. I'm not a Christian, so I don't
okay,
believe.
he's just,
Okay.
So and Trump's not a Christian, so But
okay.
go ahead. What do you think is the real reason if you do not agree with me?
Yeah, I think that this is living in some sort of fantasy land to believe that white supremacists have been emboldened by this administration because, I mean, so just for example,
Like Steve
So-
Bannon and all the Proud Boys that were.
look, man,
And all the
I
Proud
really
Boys
am
that
here
got
to have a
sent for you
conversation,
to
but
back
you're
about
making it
Well,
really
'cause
hard to
you're
have a
bringing up
conversation.
stupid shit, dude. You're bringing up stupid shit. I'm sorry, but it's totally obvious what Stephen Miller is. And Steve Bannon,
And-
and Roger
and-
Stone.
yeah.
Baggins,
Like,
man,
they're facts,
listen,
they're facts,
dude. Baggins, I'm
Look,
trying to have
if
a
you want to
conversation,
bring
man.
up
Can you
real
just
facts and want to talk real facts, if you're going to just bring up
Hey,
stupid
listen.
points, I'm not going to let you get there.
Baggins, you haven't even let me
Baggins.
speak, dude.
Because everything you said has been
I'm
dumbass
happy
so
to-
far, dude.
What
Hey,
if I
listen,
said that was
listen.
dumb,
It's
Baggins?
all
What the fuck are you
textbook
talking about?
right-wing stupid shit. Dude, Steve Bannon and Roger
All
Stone are
right.
racist.
Sophie,
Yeah,
I
Stephen
would have
Miller's a
enjoyed the
racist.
conversation, but this is Baggins
Look,
is making this impossible for us
Baggins,
to.
I don't
I
want
mean,
to run. I don't want to
again,
run people
I
off
understand that
just
we
because-
disagree, man, but you've got to chill the fuck out.
I don't got to do nothing, son.
Hey,
Remember
look,
that. I don't gotta do
Baggins.
nothing.
Look. I appreciate that you are defending what I would
No, I'll
agree
let
with
you go.
as the truth.
Dude. I'll let you go. I'm good.
But I
I'm
do
good.
want to. I do want to engage with people
Look,
who I
just
who I might
remember what I
disagree
told
with.
you. Don't let these idiots even try to. They're the nuts, Anybody for Trump is nuts in their head, period.
Well, I feel like, honestly,
And I know you see
at
that.
the same time,
I don't want to get this sissy all mad. You know, we talk about,
oh my
they call
God,
us snowflakes, right?
The
Cracking
only
me up.
thing you've done is just insult me and insult the people who think differently than you, and you feel like you're smarter than them for some reason.
Well, he bowed out, but and I want to tell you right now, I appreciate him very much for I feel having my back. Like I think he's feeling very protective, and that I think that's very, very sweet. But at the same time, I don't feel like you haven't come with any kind of energy that I feel like I need to be protected from you, you know. So I'm very happy to hear what you have to say, but I can agree with him though that in this moment, if you were not seeing that things are terribly, horribly wrong, then I don't know why you would even want to engage with somebody who's trying to, again, offer solutions to a problem that if you don't agree is a problem, you know, why are we here? But let me know how you feel. What's on your mind?
Because there's no way that the country can move on if we don't have conversations about uncomfortable and difficult topics. Ultimately, if you just sit around and have people cheerleading behind whatever you believe, nothing's ever going to change. The division will grow, and then everybody will go, see, they're pitting us against each other, when really we're pitting each other against each other. Like, nobody's willing to have an uncomfortable conversation with topics that they disagree on without resorting to, oh, see, this guy's a fucking idiot. This guy's a moron. This guy's a sexist, racist, homophobe, transphobe, blah, 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 xenophobe, down the list. Like, it's pointless. It's fucking pointless.
The dude,
yeah.
Tell me your opinion, man. We were on a really, I think, difficult topic. I think white supremacy is an incredibly difficult topic. So, like, if you
I know. I wish we could have had the conversation with him, but he had no self-control.
No, it's not that. I think he's. No,
it was that.
A veteran, and he's older, and he's seen things that you don't sound old enough to have seen. So let's respect his age and his service, and we'll leave it there. But again, I'm talking.
They're old veteran assholes too. Who gives a shit,
dude? What do you think the problem is? What do you think the problem is if it's not white supremacy?
Well, I would say that there's much more anti-white rhetoric than there is anti-black or anti-brown rhetoric that goes on today. And it is the only type of racism that is not only condoned, but cheered on.
But what is anti-white? Like, what have you heard that's... Like, what does that mean to you?
I mean, literally scroll through this app. And you'll see, I mean, people openly making racial slurs where just... Imagine someone dropping an N-bomb in a TikTok live. How well do you think that would go?
But what's a
meanwhile in another group you can be called well, I mean, cracker's kind of a funny one. I think that's funny. Honky, they're all kind of funny terms, but you know, sun dodgers, I've heard that was a new one for me.
What?
Yeah, pink skin people, I don't know, there's a lot of different racial slurs that get thrown around, which obviously none of them carry the history with it as the N-word. I'm not trying to say that they're the same thing, but we are talking about racial slurs, right?
So you are trying to say they're the same thing.
Well, so... Yes and no. So they don't carry the same weight, but they are the same thing.
What does that weight mean to you? What is the weight?
Well, there's no real historical context of... I'm sorry?
Yeah, like what is the weight you feel when you hear a white slur versus the weight you think I feel when I hear the word we can't even say?
I mean, I have no idea what you feel. But I do know that it's a real easy way to get hit in the mouth. Like,
but what do you think I feel? Like, just take a stab at it. What do you think I feel as a black person when someone hard R's me.
I don't really think that's important in the conversation that we're having.
If it's not important how someone feels when they hear a racial slur of any sort, then what's the point of you being upset about a white one?
I'm not upset about it. I'm not upset about it, and I don't think that it's important to the conversation that we're having.
Well, I beg to differ only because I think you're trying to liken prejudice against white people with racism against black people or brown people or whomever, when they're totally different things. They're absolutely different things. Like, I think you believe that the term reverse racism is real, given what you just said.
No, I don't believe that the term reverse racism is real. There's no such thing as reverse racism. There is just racism.
Okay, but so then what is your definition of racism?
A prejudice or belief that a particular race is superior, or discrimination based on one's race. I do not subscribe to the prejudice plus power equals racism sort of definition. I don't subscribe to that at all.
Why not?
Well, I mean, for one, it's a narrowing of the definition, because it basically what that says is the only type of racism is institutional or systemic racism, and completely leaves out that interpersonal racism exists. And I think it's silly to say that interpersonal racism doesn't exist. But even some people who will agree that interpersonal racism does exist will then try to tie it back and say, well, it exists because of a system of racism or because of institutional racism. And I don't believe that. I think if you have, very negative thoughts or beliefs about a person because of the race of that person, that's racist. That's also how it was always defined.
Well, how?
I mean, the prejudice plus power part didn't come up until, I think it was 1979, 1980, when, I can't remember the title of the book, but no, I don't subscribe to that line of thought.
Well, just because you don't subscribe to it doesn't mean that effectively changes it for everyone. When honestly, you could literally just call the type of racism you're talking about prejudice, right? Like, what would be your gripe with that? Because prejudice and racism, in my opinion, are two, not even my opinion, just definitionally are two very different things. So it seems like you are having a difficult time with not being able to claim that same level of victimhood. Right?
No, I'm not interested in claiming victimhood. What are you talking about? I'm not interested in claiming victimhood. Racial prejudice and racism have been synonymous. They always have been, until this narrowing of the definition to where it is only about power and institutional racism, or, the ability to oppress. It's a narrowing down of the term.
Well,
it is simply to excuse racial prejudice towards white people. And again, I'm not trying to say that I'm any sort of victim. I don't really care. It doesn't affect me. I mean, ultimately, you don't like me, cool. I just won't be around you. That's fine.
Well, I feel like we're getting a little circular here. Like, ultimately, what you're trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you're trying to say is that you are or are not feeling oppression or that you are now discriminated against as a white man, or that the white man is now the most discriminated against as opposed to other races, or like what is your ultimate?
Let me clarify. So,
yeah, sorry.
Anti-white racism is the only kind of racist that you can outwardly be in public and no one bats an eye. If you were to say the same, if you replace black and white in any of the sentences that gets uttered on this app or any other about a different racial group than white, and insert any race, people would be up in arms about people saying that type of shit. But it's excused because you are talking about, in quotes, the oppressor. It's.
Well, I think it's just. Question?
Of course.
Are you on Twitter or X?
Sure.
Twitter's been around since 2010, I guess. I don't know. 2010.
Okay.
So if I were to say that, yesterday you were tweeting about Elon Musk, I don't know. You wouldn't think that I was talking about a little bird making a chirping noise, right? You would think, oh, she must be talking about writing a message on Twitter, right?
Okay.
So the word tweeting, even though it's very recently changed and updated its definition, has actual meaning in a different context than it did decades ago. Correct,
okay,
right?
So you're agreeing that the term has been redefined to a narrower definition, correct?
I'm just saying, even if it did, are you now saying that?
But I'm asking you, do you agree that it has?
That's where I don't see the point of my agreeing or disagreeing, because that's not the issue. The issue is words.
It's part of the issue.
Words can change meaning. So whether it meant something else in the past or not, we today hold racism to be prejudice plus power, and that's what that is, right?
Okay, but you would agree that the term has changed, correct?
What is your the thing that negates its meaning now just because it changed?
Listen, I went through your Twitter thing. I would appreciate it if you would just again, yes or no, do you agree that the term has been redefined?
Sure.
Okay, so now we can move on to the reasoning behind it being defined differently today than it was just 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, is that it is now okay to go out and openly spew what would now be termed as racial prejudice or discrimination or whatever played down term, that anybody would like to use, as opposed to just saying, hey, that's racist as fuck. Like, in the same way that it would be if a white person were to say any of those same things about insert racial group here.
That was a very long
Do you see my point? Do you see my point?
I see how you can see that, but when I look at the definition as it stands today, there is a huge difference. I'm going to concede. I'm going to give you something. I'm going to say, fine, it's racism. It's solid, straight up racism. I'm also going to say that that's wrong. That's not something that I condone. I'm clearly not doing that. I don't do that. I'm not racist to anyone, So that includes white people. But at the same time, what does that mean to you then? If I were to say white people and white supremacy is a real thing, white people are fundamentally the cause of most of the woes of Americans today, including white people, like would that be racist to you for me to actually point out the things that white people have actually done? Like, is that, like, do you support Trump in taking out white history and black history from the education system? Is that considered racist, just to talk about what's actually happening?
Okay, so you're saying a lot of different things here. So do I think that it would be racist for you to say that all the ills of the country or the world were caused by white people yes, I would say that's racist.
Why?
I'm sorry?
Why?
Because again, you're conflating history and saying that people today are now the cause of all of the ills of people today. But I mean, this kind of goes back to what you were saying with white supremacy being the disease that created Trump, right?
Yes, precisely.
Okay, and so that's the whole point of why we're getting here. Is I don't believe that white supremacists or white supremacy is some leading ideology that's run rampant through our federal government or through society as a whole. What I would say is that anti-white racism is very much more predominant in today's culture than white supremacy.
Well, then how has that in any way diminished the power, privilege, finances, livelihood of white people versus the racism toward Black people impacting our lives, livelihoods,
sure,
so everything?
Because life is more complicated than being able to say that household incomes for Black Americans versus household incomes for white Americans, that disparity between racial demographics, to point at that and go, see, white supremacy at play, I think is very intellectually lazy. And I don't think it really stands up when you start to look at all of the other factors that influence these things in people's lives.
Interesting. And so what would those factors be?
So statistically speaking, if you finish high school, don't have a child out of wedlock, have both parents in the home, your life is statistically much easier for you than if you were to drop out of high school, have a child out of wedlock, or raised by a single parent. That's just what statistics show.
So let's take each of those things and, let's draw a line with how white supremacy has affected each of those things. First of all, with education, okay? Literally, we can go all the way back to like redlining, okay? So if Black people as late as the 1980s were not able to get homes in nicer areas or in areas that might have had better schools, because schools are tied to what? Your location, right? Where your house is. If Black people were barred from getting into better schools, wouldn't that impact how Black people's education is even today? Also, if Black people weren't even allowed to go to universities to the point where we had to create our own. That's where HBCUs even came from, is the fact that Black people couldn't go to any white college or university. And that was until what, the 50s, the 40s or 50s. So the struggle to even get an education, if you've had such a head start on that for hundreds of years as white people, and then Black people are just now catching up in the scheme of the time that we've been in this country, you don't think that would impact there would be some kind of difference in how our education looks today? You even have research that shows that Black and white people have implicit bias toward giving Black students more suspensions, more not evictions. What's the word when they get kicked out of school? When you get kicked out of school altogether?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank just because you asked me.
I'm sorry, but Black kids are directly due to racism. Their education is impacted. Also, even when you look at things like why do some Black kids stay out of school, or why are they do they have higher truancy rates where they're not in school or have lower attendance? A lot of that, something like 50% of kids who are out of school it's due to medical complications, namely things like asthma. So you can even look at how the disparities in how Black people are treated in the healthcare industry impact just education. This is just education. And that's like 3 or 4 differing ways historically and present day that white supremacy has directly impacted just education. And then what's the second thing you said? Not having a baby out of wedlock. But yeah, so not having a baby out of wedlock. When welfare was first started, and I think even to this day, you cannot have like a 2-person household or a 2-person income and still get your benefits or something to that effect. So there would even be where, and you can't have like a man living in your home and still get welfare benefits. I don't know the details, but I do know that there was a long time where basically it behooved people, and not just Black people, because the largest welfare recipients are white, but it behooved people on welfare to
not proportionately, but
I'm sorry, what?
Not proportionately, but just on raw number, just total number, yes.
Okay. So the people who were on welfare, you're encouraged to not get married. But studies show even today that for unmarried couples, Black fathers are actually in their child's lives much, much more than their white counterparts. They are there when their kids are going to sleep. They're there reading to their children. They're there taking their kids to school. So even unmarried Black couples and fathers are in their children's lives to a great degree. And that's like a recent study that I saw. So ultimately, all I'm saying is, like, when it comes to the family,
where was this study published?
I don't know, but I can certainly look it up and find it. Again, I want to preface that this is not a debate show. I'm not trying to like counterpoint your arguments. I'm just literally trying to say that the 3 things you mentioned, we're on the second one with the household and having the babies and stuff. But also just the fact that if you look at how many ABs, some abortions, that people get, Black people do get a grip, not the most. White people do get the most, but like you said, proportionately, Black people get a lot of abortions compared to others, and a lot of that.
There were more Black women that had ABs than children were born in certain areas of the country.
But
over the last several years.
Overall, they're still like the Black population growth is still something along the lines of like 3%. So even having more ABs, we're still outpacing white people as far as our birth rates and stuff. So that's not something to be worried about. I know that's thrown around a lot, like it's a genocide on Black people, ABs are, and it's just not true. But long story short, we're placed in that situation because, typically it's lower income people who get ABs. It's people who already have children who get ABs, So if you're looking at, disparities in the family, that could be a tell as to, the people who get the most ABs not perhaps being ready to grow their families or something. I'm not sure. But even if you go all the way back to like slavery, I don't know if you've seen like the Willie Lynch papers and how basically families were split apart. Men were emasculated. So the Black family structure from literally day one of coming to this country has always had like turpitude. So, and tumultuousness, I would say. So it's from the start to the welfare age in the 1990s, I'd say, to now. Again, not only are things much more disparate because of white supremacy for Black people, but they're not I think a lot of the stereotypes are again refuted by some of that research with how like Black fathers are in their children's lives more than white fathers. But that's a lot of things that impact the Black family. And then what was the third thing that you said? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
So just real quick, because I think there's a lot to unpack between those 2 points that you've already said. So to not get lost in this.
Sure.
But so, and correct me if I'm wrong, but basically the 3 points were finishing high school,
Mm-hmm.
not having a child out of wedlock, and having both parents in the home. So you've really hit all three there.
Yeah.
Right. So not finishing high school, you're attributing that to redlining, correct?
That's one of so many things. Yes.
Okay, redlining, and then you said 50% of kids who had truancy problems were due to medical complications or health issues.
Yeah.
Okay, and
you could throw
just in passing said that was also an indication of white supremacy.
Yeah, and in healthcare and how that impacts education.
Okay, and then for single parent households, that was due to incentivizing single motherhood from the federal government through their welfare programs.
Yeah, again, that was one of several things that have happened in the ways in which the Black family has been. And I'm saying that to address the statistics, just anecdotally. Like, I was raised in a 2-parent household that did quite well, and I can't say that I speak to that. I've never been on food stamps or welfare or any of that. So like, I'm speaking, about statistics and research and history and things. But, if you just want to look at an example of someone who, I have a master's degree, my great grandparents went to college, so I'm not like, oh, I'm the first generation to go to school. No, I come from a history. I come from a long lineage of Black people who were very educated, so like, if you just want to use me as an example of the fact that this whole stereotype of the broken Black home and poor and on welfare and stuff, like, me nor no one I fucking know, is that. And so
well, of course, but at the same time, I mean, in the same way, I never grew up in a trailer. You know what I mean? Like,
again,
my parents have all their teeth. Nobody ever touched me. I never, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are stereotypes between racial demographics. I mean, that doesn't mean that every single person fits those stereotypes.
But that's the difference, baby. That's the difference.
What is the difference?
They don't think that instantly about you. Like, when people see me, I'm automatically classified as one of those statistics until I say, or until I open my mouth, or until we have that conversation, or until, I correct someone, or whatever the case is. But the fact that if you look at any Black person, we have to overcome this initial presupposition that people have about us, and people, because it's not just white people. but that is what the implicit bias that we talk about is. That is what the privilege of being white is that you don't have to override this initial like inferiority that people assume we're on a lower ranking of the hierarchy just because, you know, of our skin color. So that's what all I'm saying with my, again, anecdotal comment about the fact that I am none of the things I'm trying to defend.
But Sophie, the problem is I don't think any of those things when I look at you, and I don't think that the majority of the public thinks those things. I think that there is a subsect of the public that does believe that. But again, there are nasty people in all sectors of society. But I think that it is this self-limiting or just sort of belief that I don't know. It doesn't sound like it came from your home, from the way that you describe your upbringing, but whether it's societal or whatever, that has conditioned you to believe that people look at you and think of you as less than.
No, I know they do. There are studies that prove that implicit bias is a very real thing. That the whole idea of critical race theory, even, first of all, like what do you think critical race theory is?
Cultural Marxism, simply.
Okay, so what it actually is, it was a legal course.
I understand what the argument against it is. I understand its history. I understand all of it. I've followed that for
it's
quite a while. I understand.
It literally was a class that
I understand, Sophie.
Could take as a second. It wasn't even you had to take another course. But I think you had to take critical theory of law or something, and then critical race theory was like the second class you could take after you had that elective. So I mean, it that's all that it was. But the idea of was that's all it was. But the idea that the idea that racism absolutely affects the way that systems, including the legal system, operate and have operated and continue to operate is very real. And that's what that course was proving. And so then you also have so many studies. You have the study where what was it called? The Sundown study, where literally cops were tracked with who they stopped at the same time, but during and after daylight savings. So when it was dark versus when it was light, and Black people got stopped way more when it could be seen that they were Black people versus when it was nighttime and you couldn't tell what race the person you're pulling over is. We just talked about the study with teachers who when they're looking at kids doing an activity, and you say, hey, one of the kids is going to do something. We want to make sure that they don't get out of line. Can you watch the kids and make sure they don't mess up? They'll track those teachers' eyes, and they always go to the Black kids, particularly the Black little boys. And so it's just in us. This is teachers. This is in us to assume that the troublemakers are going to be Black, to assume the person who is going to be acting up is going to be a little Black boy, essentially. We have studies where you can send your resume in with a Black sounding name versus a white sounding name. And it's something along the lines of a white person who has a felony checked on their resume will get more callbacks than the Black person with like a master's degree. So on the same exact resume. So we have proved that there is systemic racism and implicit bias throughout damn near every system you could think of. But why does that bother you? Like, why is that so unbelievable to you?
Okay, so you say a lot of things. Obviously, this is your life. You can do whatever you want. But if we're gonna have a conversation, hitting on 3, 4, 5 different points, let's slow things down and have a little bit more back and forth, if that's okay.
Okay, what's up?
Yeah. So again, going back to what we were talking about, and I forget where the conversation was before you brought up critical race theory. Where were we at before you brought that up?
I wanted to know, and I still want to know, like, why it's so difficult for you to believe that racism, especially systemic racism, is a real thing. Because again, we got here because you said that the real factor that keeps Black people down essentially is, like you said, that we're uneducated and we have too many kids, and
that's not at all what I said, Sophie.
Okay,
that's not at all what I said.
I know, but
I can't let you mischaracterize my point that way.
Well, you say it again. Why are Black people worse off from our own accord?
I think a lot of it has to do with culture.
Okay.
So if you're raised in an environment where you're constantly told how police aren't going to treat you fairly, nobody's going to give you a fair shake, which I tell my kids that, you know what I mean? But it's not the overarching narrative around everything that we teach our kids. That you're going to have to work 3 times as hard to overcome blah blah blah, that you basically just beat your kids down to the point to where they feel like everyone in society believes that they are inferior. And I think that we live in probably the least racist time in our country's history, just collectively. I think that this particular, like my generation, I think are some of the least racist white people compared to every other generation before us. However, we're also at the same time told, as you said earlier, that all of the ills of the world, and I'm paraphrasing, but all of the ills of the world in this country specifically are due to white people, and more specifically white men, right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
if we are a less racialized generation, but then you take a particular racial group and a demographic within that racial group and say, you guys are the reason why everything's fucked up, and my generation goes, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, I haven't done anything to you. Like, what are you saying? It's not taking any accountability and shouldering all of it to be caused by white supremacy. I think just shows an inability or an unwillingness to have a really hard look in the mirror within the community to say, hey, we might be fucking up too. Like, obviously there are racist people. There will always be racist people. But to say that if you don't make it, or if you wind up having 3 kids at 18 and don't finish school, and you won't get married because you might lose your benefits, and that is all due to white supremacy, I think is just not being honest.
Well, here's the thing. The people.
No, I'm not saying that that's the majority of Black people. Don't misunderstand me.
The majority of people who have children out of wedlock, the majority of people who all these things you said are white people. And what I'm saying is that even the white girl who doesn't get married, has 3 kids, is for the streets, whatever, she still has, I would say, an easier time, has more benefit of the doubt, has much.
What do you mean by has an easier time and gets more of the benefit of the doubt? Tell me more.
She's more likely to get a job that she is not qualified for.
That was the other thing. Is you said that about the study with getting resumes and callbacks and stuff like that. That study was debunked.
No, there's been like 3-4 different studies. There was one that was with resumes. Okay. There was one that was with job applications. There's been so many studies, sir. So it's not It's not that. All I'm saying is, in bringing up the studies, is that it is definitive that white supremacy is rampant. It's a real thing. Systemic racism is a real thing. Here's the thing, though. Why are we up here talking about this? Why are we up here arguing about this when, like, again, I'm of the mindset that our country is done. It's done. It's done. Like, literally, there's no going back. And so my thinking then is, what do we do when all this is over? What do we do when the dust settles? I don't want to go back to a system where, my community is just inherently disenfranchised.
Sophie, how old are you?
I'm 42. How old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh my God. So, listen.
Sophie, neither of us have ever lived in the world that you believe that we were in prior to the second administration of Donald Trump. Neither one of us.
I don't know what that means. I'm going to let
So, I think...
Sorry, but go ahead.
So in the same way that the term racism has been redefined, the same thing happened with critical race theory, right? But I don't think it as much changed the definition. I think it just more morphed into a way of viewing the world in which there are only the oppressors and the oppressed, as opposed to the bourgeois and the proletariat.
You said earlier that the Black community needs to have a hard conversation with ourselves, correct? You said this?
I did.
So I think that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm not even trying to limit it to Black people. I'm literally trying to say, let's stop with the minutia of it all. The fact is, white privilege is real. Our current administration, this moment in time, is steeped in racism towards Black people. Also,
could I finish my point real quick though? Could I finish my point?
I don't really think it matters. I'm going to be honest with you.
But Sophie, it does. It very much matters if you would let me finish my point.
Because I will let you.
Sophie, you went on for like 20 minutes. I didn't interrupt you. I disagreed with many things that you said. If I could just finish my point.
It has never been a debate show. I'm not here to talk about the merits of being a white person or what you feel or what versus.
Could I have 60 seconds? Could I have 60 seconds?
You have 60 seconds in a second. All I'm trying to say is we have to start looking at how we are going to come out of this. Because I feel like you have been gaslit to think that white supremacy isn't rampant, that yes, Black people just need to have conversation. We just need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and that implicit bias isn't a real thing. You don't have to mute. But I'm just saying, like, that is you believing that. That's not my lived experience. And it's also not something I think people who are maybe more liberal minded, are marginalized in other ways, maybe white trans people. If you're not a white man, it's like you said, the fact that you're feeling like you're the most discriminated against now, for you to even be able to utter that tells me that you just might not be ready for how we're going to have to move forward, and for the conversation we are going to have, because I don't give a shit if Kamala Harris got elected today. We cannot go back to this system that created Trump in the first place, and like I said from the beginning, is so mired in white supremacy that it would allow him to be this carrier of the hatred that he's spewing now. So you can go ahead, but I'm thinking we need to have a much different conversation than the one we're having. This show is definitely about trying to survive these times and what we want to see after the dust settles. And I don't even think you think there's a problem right now. So,
well, it's very convenient because you went on a 20 to 30 minute explanation of why you believe that, and you won't allow for me to give you a full response. So that's very convenient. But
the floor is yours. Hey, Wireless.
So again, what critical race theory has done, and obviously, again, we both are on the same page. We understand its origins. But what it morphed into was a way of viewing the world where everything is viewed through an oppressor versus oppressed lens. And I think if you view the world that way, you're going to find ways to fit people into these two categories. So if you set out looking at the world, you are going to find a way to say, oh, white supremacy, there it is. Again, found it. I just think that it's a cop-out, for one. For two, I think that it is racializing the country far more than what the ultimate goal should be, which I don't think is really possible, and that is to eradicate racism. Because interpersonal racism exists and always will. Just because it is a negative human trait that some people possess, and I think that some of it is learned. I think all of it's learned. But again, if you go out and you look at every racial disparity, and then you go, oh, white supremacy, at it again, I think is just letting this person off the hook for their failures or their inadequacies or them not reaching the level that they thought they should have gotten to. But anyway, I think to pretend that we live in a world where the current administration is just espousing white supremacy and that is the leading ideology behind all of their choices is just not based in reality.
Reality is perception. I'm gonna jump in real quick. Reality is perception, right? And the reality is that this administration views anyone who is othered in any capacity, othered. Let's take race out of it, right? Let's take race out of it. If you are poor, they don't like your ass either, right? Like if you are uneducated, they don't like you either. If you are in a rural area, they don't like you either. JD Vance couldn't wait to get the hell up out of that rural ass area. He does not care. You understand what I'm saying? And so like, even if you want to take out white supremacy, even though you really truly can't, because the reality is you have to understand history and its complexities and how this country was built in order to understand and in order to dismantle what we have now. Let me also say, anybody can uphold white supremacy. It is not dictated solely to white people.
Right.
Anybody, because of the way it has ingrained itself in every single part of our lives. Every single part of our lives. When if let me ask you, I can't see what your name is.
You're proving my previous point.
What point am I proving?
That if you go out and you view the entire world through a looking for racism lens, you're
No
going to
one's
find
looking for
racism
it. You
everywhere you look.
experience it. No one's looking for it.
Okay.
You experience it.
Hey,
Right?
Okay.
Melody, hold on one second. Dude, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. I want you to know that I appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective. I just don't like I'd like to think I'm a good communicator. I'd like to think that I'm, even though I'm Black and you're white, that I can convey that experience and my perception, like Melody's talking about, enough for you to understand that it's like she's saying, like that the reality for me and for most Black people, it is based on that lived experience, is based on our perception. So and I see how that ties into what you're saying, that if we go around with this mindset of looking for racism, or is it, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I get how you can see that, but I have to apologize to you because I'm clearly not as good a communicator as I thought. I don't think that I'm ever going to be able to convey to you enough of my experience that would allow you to have the empathy that you might need for this conversation, and also I think that just because, like, you believe the gaslighting, you believe the stereotypes, you believe the statistics around a lot of this stuff.
I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt. I do hate to interrupt, but I've bought into the gaslighting, and so could you describe that could you expound on that a little bit?
For you to say that even in this moment, even with Donald Trump attacking brown people and Black people and DEI and the othered, like Melody says, and for you to not see that is racist, or that or that's white supremacist, or that we're living in a time where these identity politics are actually, the rubber is hitting the road.
Are you interested in hearing why I don't agree with those things?
I'm not, because I
and
think
that's why. So, ma'am, if you wanted to be a better communicator, because you're a very articulate woman, you're a very articulate person.
I think we're done, just because there's no way for me to get you on my side from this. And so I
understand, but that's the whole point, ma'am.
No,
that's the whole point.
No.
This is one of the first things that I said when I got up here. Was the reason why we have such a divide today is because people are unwilling to have uncomfortable conversations.
You can't have uncomfortable conversations if you are minimizing what she's saying. You can't have uncomfortable conversations if your default is, but you're not communicating well. That's not it. That's not how that works, right?
That's also not what I'm saying. And you missed the first part of our conversation, Melody. But I can fill you in on that if you like.
No, dude. You and me are talking. I'm talking to you. All I'm saying is, like, I would invite you to come back on and watch, and we can maybe jump back in with this again. But in this moment in time where, again, I think we have bigger problems. I genuinely think we're in a constitutional crisis. I think that the unitary executive is in full effect. I think we're in full-blown authoritarianism. I really...
You don't think that was the previous administration at all?
Oh, God. Listen, you're welcome to stay on. I followed you. I hope you will follow me back. I enjoyed the conversation so far, but I just think we have much more important things to get to. So you're welcome to hang out, but I want to redirect the conversation back to its premise here. Like, we're here today to not only try to identify just how similar we are along the timeline of how the Weimar Republic fell, how similar Trump is to the H-man, and just how much we are absolutely facing the same outcome. I want us to not get there.
So would you like a different perspective than your own, or?
Hold on one second, because again, there's a few new folks on, so I'm just letting people know what this show is. Because again, it's not a debate show. I'm not here to try and talk about whether racism is or is not a thing. We're here operating as though Donald Trump is absolutely shitting on the judiciary.
So you do not want to
gotten rid of the legislative branch. This is not about perspective, sir. This is about preparation. This is about surviving this moment. So we're here talking about what are some things we need to do to harden our vulnerabilities. What kind of things do you need for your go bag, y'all? Like,
so I love this question.
About, like, you know, this is a conversation. You're essentially trying to ask me, you know, is the sky blue or is the sky orange? And yeah, at night the sky can be orange when it's dusk, or in the morning when the sun is rising, it might be orange. But for the most part, the sky is blue. And also the fucking sky is falling, sir.
Right.
So we can't keep talking about the color of the sky. I love that conversation. That's fun and that's nice, but that's not this time. So
I'm actually here to have the conversation that the sky is not falling, ma'am.
But that's where, again, we cannot, like, if you don't think the sky is falling, I don't know why you're still on. Like, because this is what this is. So again, if you're today in the Fourth Reich, if you are also of the mind that the sky is falling and you want to contribute to the conversation in that way, then please come up.
Okay. So can I just make sure that I understand, so that I can either leave or go or stay?
I mean, you're
to make
welcome
sure that I understand.
To stay if you have.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I understand
to that point.
So just to make sure that I understand.
Sure.
You're only looking to have conversations with people to figure out a game plan because the sky is falling, and you're not interested in having anyone on to tell you that the sky is in fact not falling. I just want to make sure that I understand.
Here's the thing. I think when we were talking about gaslighting earlier,
right?
I think that's where you're not seeing the facts, the reality. Big Balls said that I don't understand history. I think that's why I am in the state that I am, because I do understand history. I do understand that we are essentially the Germans who were watching H-Man send people to Poland, to Auschwitz, just like we're watching him send people to El Salvador, I can't even say it, El Salvador. We're watching the H-Man put people in place because of their yes man and sycophancy instead of their competence. We're watching the H-Man claim that he has a mandate to do what he's doing, even though he only won by 33%. This man only won by 31%. So I mean, we're watching history repeat itself. And so because I do know the history, Balls, tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me what history you think I'm getting wrong here.
Did you not see any similarities when Democratic governors and mayors were encouraging people to turn in their neighbors for having family get-togethers? Did you see any of those similarities in that time period?
No, because they weren't then going to ship them off to El Salvador, honey. Yeah, I don't know how you're going to liken the COVID pandemic, the COVID global pandemic, to anything that Trump or H-Man is doing. So like I'm again, I'm flummoxed. Like, I'm glad you're here. I appreciate that you're wanting to engage. That's so sweet. Again, I sincerely hope you follow and we keep engaging in conversations when it's appropriate, but I just don't think it's appropriate right now. Shit is bad. And if you don't think it's bad, then you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to exactly what I was saying when I first started. Is if people that don't see things the same way, don't have conversations, then nothing gets fixed. You just have people running around cosplaying as revolutionaries.
You don't think anything needs to be fixed. That's the difference. Like, I
do think that things need to be fixed. I don't agree with 100% of Trump's policies. I don't agree with 100% of his positions. I'm not that guy.
So, Sophie,
yes. Melody, please take the floor, because I'm so sorry. I feel like
you're good.
neglected you, honey.
I think this is an important conversation, and amongst my folks around me, who we may not necessarily always agree 100%, what we do agree on is that we're going to have to take care of each other, right?
Yes.
There's going to become a time where we're going to have to lean into community much more, much more. And
when you say community, could you tell me what exactly you mean by that?
Sure.
People who think something is wrong. People who think something is wrong.
Right.
I don't care if you're black, white, trans, straight. I don't care.
Okay.
If you agree that shit is bad and we need to, like you said, lean on each other. Great. But I agree, Wireless. Please finish, Melody. Let's let her say what she's trying to say. Please do.
Yeah. So yes, I think that it has to be a sense of building community. And what that looks like is, what are the skills that you have that can contribute to a successful outcome for everyone, right? Yeah. Like, so if, there was a time that I was, I guess I still am, but a certified doula, that's going to be useful, right? For someone who is giving birth to have that support, right? There's people who know how to make soap from scratch or from, ingredients, or those who know about herbal medicines and those who know about building and things. We're going to need that stuff. And I think that having this conversation isn't to put fear into people. And I think that's something that we have to realize. This is not to put fear into people's hearts. It is really to say, okay, we've leaned on this system a lot, for whatever reasons, right? We thought that, you know what? If we work hard, we will accomplish all of our goals. We'll get the American dream. And we're seeing time and time again, regardless of what administration is in office, that's just not true. And so what do we need to do differently, right?
Like, I see Bob saying that I'm afraid of actual debate. This is not a debate show. It never has been, even when I was operating in a different capacity, is just doing a little liberal call-in. Like, I'm not a debater, never have been. I invite and welcome differing viewpoints, but we also have to look at the fact that like the emperor's
the sky is falling.
The emperor, I'll use another fairy tale. The emperor's wearing no clothes. His followers think they can also run around naked, but we see all of them, and it's, it's sad and it's scary. And we used to try to placate you guys and be like, those are lovely garments. Maybe you could try to put on some other, but it's like, we can't coddle you guys anymore. And we can't like genuinely, dude, like, I want to believe that you're trying to make me feel better. I want to believe that you're trying to say, oh, you know what? There's nothing to worry about. Calm down. Everything's going to be okay. But I don't know. Like, I don't believe that you're really coming at it from a good faith place like that. I think
That's exactly where I'm coming from, Sophie. I mean, that's fine that you don't have to believe me. That's okay. But ultimately, that is the whole goal. Like I said to begin with, I keep going back to this. If we don't have conversations with people that think differently than we do, nothing fucking changes. Ever, ever, ever. The divide grows bigger. I'm trying to tell you in the same way that I told you that I don't look at you and think of negative stereotypes. I look at you and see a well-educated, articulate black woman. That's it. But in your mind, you think that I look at you and I see, like a welfare queen or something. You know what I mean?
Listen,
like, that's.
Let me respond. If you're right, and I genuinely don't have anything to worry about. And then a family member of mine is confronted by ICE, or I can't get an AB if I need one, or my trans friend is arrested, or any of the things.
Why would your trans friend be arrested?
Because there was a trans girl arrested for going to the bathroom in Florida. So all I'm saying is, any of the things that I am concerned about and trying to offer some solutions for, if they happened and I listened to you and was, oh, you know what, dude says it's going to be okay, I'm going to sit back and just not worry about it. That would kind of suck if something happened. Whereas if I'm right and things aren't that great right now, and all I'm saying, I'm with Melody. I'm not trying to be alarmist. I'm just trying to sound an alarm. I'm not trying to be negative. I want to offer ways to set it and forget it, have a plan in place, have your phone set up how you need to, have some protections in place, make sure you got your double opt-ins, and and you're checking stuff, and you take a nice weekend to really call some folks and make sure they know that if this happens, you need to do this. If you take
so you're more or less being a prepper.
A little bit of time.
Is that right?
Sure. And what's the harm? And what's the harm in that if I'm right?
Okay.
Versus what's the harm in not doing stuff if you're right?
Right. Okay. So that kind of goes back to the same way that if you have the conversation about global warming, right? So just bear with me here for a second. So global warming, the ocean is going to cover all of the West Coast, all of the East Coast, most of Florida, Louisiana, Texas, and it is because of man-made global warming. All right, so we need to do everything in our power to stop that from happening, despite the fact that there are plenty of people on the other side of things that will tell you absolutely the climate is changing, but the effect to which humans have that effect, or the amount to which humans have that effect, is still very much debated. So should we impose unnecessary hardships on ourselves because of something that somebody else believes? Does that make sense? Do you see kind of where I'm headed? It's not the best analogy, but it's just the first one that came to mind.
All right, but I feel like you're proving my point. Like, if global warming is a hoax, if it's a hoax and we don't do anything, then okay, great. But if it's a hoax and we made things more environmentally friendly and we stopped practices that were
cost? That's harmful. The point, though. At what cost?
But that's the thing. When you throw cost in, you're more concerned about BP and these.
No, I'm talking about societal cost, Sophie. I'm not talking about monetary. I'm talking about societal costs.
Sure. And when it comes to global warming and really any of these problems that we're talking about, any of them, it's typically corporations or governments that have to foot these bills to fix global warming.
Away from climate change, I'm talking about what the whole Fourth Reich and finding community, which I think
you're switching it up. You just brought up global warming.
No. The point that I'm making, I'm trying to bring it back to the original topic. So there's a bad echo, Melody.
Oh my god. The Melody, go on mute for a second. There you go. But no, you asked about global warming,
I understand, but I'm trying to draw it back to the original point. The original point being that with climate change, you're imposing financial, monetary hardships, and then beyond that.
No, but on who?
But if I could just finish, Sophie, please, come on. Sophie, if I could just finish.
No, honestly, you interrupted my response to you. I'm telling
ma'am, you've gone on for you go on for 10 minutes at a time, and then I try to speak for a minute, and you interrupt
me. I don't understand. Like,
because again, I'm trying to have the conversation, Sophie.
But
so again, I'll land the plane if you just let me land it.
Go ahead, sir.
So again, going back to the whole point of this discussion is the societal cost that is associated with everything is white supremacy and the country is over. The societal cost of that is much, much greater than what you're willing to give credit for. And you won't see that because you are very ideologically captured and you're unwilling to have conversations that question that narrative.
Okay. All right. Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll just agree to disagree. And
I don't think so. I don't think that we're in disagreement on anything. I just think that this genuinely isn't the time, space, place to debate the color of the sky.
Again, it's not about the color of the sky. It's that the sky's not falling, Chicken Little.
If it falls, first of all, I think it's falling. I think we're all watching it descend. But I don't know what glasses you have on or where you're looking. But if you don't if you don't feel like anything is wrong, then you really don't. Again, you don't have anything to contribute to this. You don't have anything you'll take away from this. Because if you don't think it's important to go through and look at your accounts and start saving money, and so, like somebody said at the start of the call, lose some weight, make sure you can run, like there's shit we got to start doing, like if
why
you
are
don't
you just starting?
Then don't worry about it, but
why are you just starting?
Why am I just starting? With what?
Right.
With what?
Why are you just starting all these things that you just named?
Oh no, I've literally established standwithsophie.com. I've got all my classes ready. There's iPhone shortcuts you can download right now, so you can just say a shortcut phrase and it'll automatically text your emergency contacts with your location. It'll start a recording. I have action cards you can print.
This is a business for you.
No, I mean, honestly, you can sign up for free and get all my guides and everything. It's literally, please, please, please protect yourself. Let's start this community. You can sign up for free, standwithsophie.com, and join the community so we can, like you said, Melody, find people who have these skills that I don't have. We have a person on who knows how to hunt. We have a person who's I think I'm pretty decent with the pew pew, but they are amazing. So like literally, we're just trying to build community. I do have a paid plan. I'm not even going to front. Like if you want to give me money, please give me money. You can get so many more perks from that with actual like shopping guides. You can just press a button and add everything to your cart for things you might need for your go bag. But absolutely. Melody, oh my gosh. I hate that we lost her because she's a genius. Like literally she's a genius. I know her IRL, so I'm sorry. But
I got you. Well, listen, I misunderstood. I thought that this was something where you were looking for people with different points of view.
No, I feel like
I see that is not the case. That you are looking for people that already agree with your premises and then discuss it. Okay.
The sky is falling. Yes.
Yeah. So I disagree with your premise. So I guess I've wasted your time.
I feel I've wasted your time. Again, I feel like from the onset, I've stated what my belief about the current state of things is.
No, you've dodged multiple times me asking you basically the same thing. So if I could just finish.
No, I think you should go ahead and jump off, babe, because I don't know why you're still here. I'm sorry.
I got you.
Thanks
You
for
can
the
lecture
time.
someone
Thanks
else.
for your time. And
Yeah.
All
All right, Chicken Little.
All right. What the fuck? Honestly, y'all, if you don't think anything's wrong, I am so happy for you. Like, I'm so glad. We were saying earlier that people who are gung-ho MAGA and still so pro-Trump, it's sad, but you know how in scary movies when you have two people who are running away and that one person trips and then they get eaten, but at least the protagonist gets to get a few more seconds. Like, I feel like that's MAGA tripping themselves. Like, how can you hear this man say that they're going to build 5 more prisons and go after the homegrowns next? You know, how can you see this man say that he wants to work on things that'll make life easier for you and lower prices at the grocery store, and then put tariffs off and then put them on and then take them off, and then basically put out an all call for people on Twitter to get the stocks and stuff, and then boast about Goldman Sachs getting $2.5 billion because of his actions. Like, he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about you. I don't know how deep his junk has to be down your throat before you realize you're choking, that you're suffocating. He doesn't like you. He doesn't respect you. He doesn't care about you. And yes, the sky is falling. I'm sorry. So genuinely, if you're worried, don't be worried. Be ready. Be prepared. Like, again, go to standwithsophie.com. I am really trying to just build a community of people who understand that the sky is fucking falling. So if you agree, there's a place for you. There are tools for you. There are solutions. I have biweekly trainings where we literally go together through your phone, come up with a contingency plan so you can set it and forget it. You can take an hour and get your stuff together. And if things happen, if things pop off, you're ready. If nothing happens, perfect. That's awesome. I hope nothing happens. Nobody wants anything bad to happen. But isn't it better to be prepared and nothing happen than to not be ready if something happens? I just think it's that simple. I don't think there's any other thing to debate about that. To believe that the other choice on the ballot cares about you is very removed from reality. What does it even matter at this point? We're looking at what the person who was voted in is presently doing. The sky is falling. I don't get how we don't see this. I mean, the fact that, again, when we look at the H-man and what he did, and oh my gosh, like, I literally have so many things. Let's talk about some of the things that they have in common. And this might be interesting to you. All right. So some of the things that they have in common, they both claim they had a mandate despite winning by a narrow margin. So H-Man only won by a vote of 33%. We all know that Trump lost in 2016 and then claimed that he lost in 2020 and then claimed that he had a mandate this time around, even though he only won by 1.3%, which was 31% of the voting population. So 2% less than H-Man. They both use Christianity to justify their actions. They both encourage violent mobs to attack government institutions. So we know about January 6th, But H-Man used the Reichstag fire to justify a crackdown on democracy, blaming communists and pushing emergency powers. Is it not an emergency power to act like we're at war with Venezuela, or to use the literal wartime emergency act or whatever that is? They both relied on propaganda to turn the public against journalists. They both attempted to overturn a democratic election result. So we know about, again, J6. But H-Man exploited political instability to pressure rivals into handing him total power, and then he abolished elections. That's why when y'all are talking about, oh, well, when the midterms come in, I don't think there's going to be any midterms. I genuinely don't. And even if there are, if he's not listening to Congress now, and he's not listening to the judiciary now, what makes you think he's going to give a shit? And when the midterms come around, it makes no sense. To believe that, okay, why is it okay when the left does all those things? Please inform me on how the left did any of those things. They both demonize an entire ethnic or religious group as criminals and parasites. So we know that Trump's called immigrants rapists and criminals and insane asylum people, and now they're all gang members, even though we haven't had due process to see whether or not that's true. And even if you are a gang member, that's not illegal. What crimes have these people committed? It makes no sense. But yeah, we all know how H-Man felt about Jewish folks. They both embraced the idea of law and order to justify state violence. All right. So H-word used law and order rhetoric to justify mass arrests, political and militarized policing. So at least we're not at the last two, I don't think. I do think we have militarized policing, but we'll see. BLM burned down cities when the left said to. What? Okay, no, not at all. And even if that's true, let's take that to be true. How does that make then January 6th right? Are you saying that was okay because BLM did it? Like, if that's just as wrong, if BLM was wrong to do that, then why not decry and disparage the J6ers just as hard? It makes no sense. There's such a false equivalency. Again, SOS, like, thanks for engaging. I appreciate the comments because it just helps my numbers. Thank you so much. Thanks for tapping, you guys. I appreciate that. Wow, we went to 2K like super quick. Wow. So thanks for that. Thanks for the engagement. But again, just because you are of an intellectual capacity to believe those things doesn't mean that everybody else is. I'm trying to say that as kindly as possible. Okay. They both had a cult of personality where followers saw them as infallible. They both portrayed political opponents as traitors who should be imprisoned or executed. And they both pushed for book bans and restrictions on what could be taught in schools. They both did this. They both encouraged violence against protesters at rallies. Because Trump, didn't he say, knock the crap out of the protesters when he was defending the Charlottesville white supremacists? They both blamed economic struggles on a scapegoated minority rather than policy failures. Oh, when we get all these immigrants out of here, the grocery prices are going to go down. Got to get all these immigrants out. Oh, doesn't it sound like H-Man and our Jew friends? They both turned a blind eye to paramilitary groups that supported their agenda. They both emphasized the need for strongman leadership to fix national decline. They both glorified past national greatness while erasing the country's history of atrocities. H-Man framed Nazi Germany as a return to past greatness while whitewashing its colonial and World War I failures. And we all know what Trump is doing. They both had authoritarian fathers and weak, very young mothers. So H-Man's mom was Clara. She was very submissive, very overprotective, very religious. Alois, his father, was very abusive, very domineering. Fred Trump was also very cold and authoritarian. He was arrested at a KKK rally. So we all know how he raised his son. Again, SOS, any other ways that the left is in any way like this man? I don't think so. Oh, hi, thanks for coming in. Let's see. They both used writings and a plan to build a blueprint for their administrations. So Trump has Project 2025, and what book was it that H-Man penned? What book was that he used as a blueprint for all of his foibles, if you will? Let's see. They both surround themselves with criminals and thugs. H-Man, many of his top Nazi officials had criminal records, including Göring, Himmler, and Goebbels. We know about Trump. Paul Manafort, Steve Bannon, all been arrested. Michael Flynn, Roger Stone. Now we have who's the guy who told him to do tariffs? I can't think of his name. The guy who was dumb as rocks, according to Elon Musk. Yeah. Oh, thanks for the gift, SOS. They both have a legal henchman to justify their authoritarianism. So H-Man had Carl Schmitt. I'm still talking, by the way. This has been, 15 minutes? I'm literally just going down a list of ways that these two men are very, very similar, or the same. Let's just read them down real quick. They both militarized the enforcement squads to crush opposition. The H-Man had the SA or the brown shirts, whereas Trump has Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, J6ers. They both have a focus on loyalty over competence. That's huge. So H-Man purged skilled military leaders. Who else did that? Who questioned his judgment and replaced them with yes men. They both survived assassination attempts. They both have this weird artist persona about them. We know that Hitler was H-Man, was an artist, a literal artist, whereas we see Trump in his rally where he spent an hour just swaying to music, and now he's over the Kennedy Center. So they both have a weird fascination with the arts. They both are basically doing re-education of children. So the H youth were indoctrinated kids who were very into Nazi ideology. They replaced critical thinking with nationalism and obedience. Hey, Gemini. So yeah, they both basically were attacking education in order to whitewash history. They both used manifest destiny to explain their expansionist ideologies. So for H-Man, he had this thing called Lebensraum. So he believed that Germany needed living space. Hey, Polly. Thank you so much for joining my team. I think again, hi. Yeah, just running down how these guys are twinsies. So we're talking about how, we see Trump now talking about how he wants to get Greenland and Canada. So he wants to have this solid North American bloc that would become America. Oh my gosh, please be careful. Thanks for being safe first and foremost. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and so yeah, it's just bad. We just got off a call with a gentleman who genuinely doesn't think anything is wrong. He's very, I'm guessing, MAGA, and doesn't seem, first of all, he doesn't seem to think that white supremacy is or has ever been a factor in America or how it's operating. He thinks that basically Black people need to accept their responsibility in their victimhood. Very interesting conversation. So I asked him why he was even here, because we were basically up here debating the color of the sky. And I'm trying to share that the sky is falling, and I don't think it's appropriate to worry whether or not it's blue or yellow. So, yeah, that didn't end too well, but so Polly, I'm taking up your, I'm still trying to let people talk, but I genuinely don't, if you're not saying that something is wrong, if you genuinely don't believe something's wrong right now, then I don't know why he would even want to be here, but he stayed here for a bit. So that was interesting. But yeah, so still going over, literally before you came on, I think I had been talking for about 15 minutes, and I'm still going about ways that these two men are extraordinarily similar. And so we have to, as Americans, as human beings, as citizens of this world, we have to recognize that we are on the same path. The same way that the Germans, who sat back and watched all this happen in their country and didn't do anything and didn't prepare and didn't have a plan in place, they went through that so we could see the history and understand what we have to do. And so I hate that happened, but I appreciate that we have a blueprint for ourselves in the same way that these two men both had a blueprint for their administration. We have to have a blueprint for how we're going to survive it. And so that's what the whole point of this conversation is. This is not a debate show. I'm not here to. The floor is open if people want to jump on as guests, but I'm more interested in tapping your brain and understanding what you could contribute to educating people as to what they might need to know or do. We had a wonderful veteran on earlier, really sweet man who offered some amazing insight from his perspective as to what we might want to start thinking about and what we might want to allow in our spaces. So I need to apologize to him because I think I let old buddy who was just racist just talk for incredibly long. Bernie, I'm going to pull you up.
Hello.
Bernie, you said you're Jewish and you voted for Trump?
I am Jewish, yeah. So I'm wondering when I'm going to be going to the ghettos because it hasn't happened yet. And everyone told me it's going to happen. So when's this going to happen?
You don't see people going to...
no, I haven't seen any concentration camps or ghettos for Jewish people or anyone else.
You don't see any concentration camps?
No, where are they? I've been looking.
We're in El Salvador, honey.
El Salvador is a concentration camp? I'm pretty sure it's a country.
All right. Well, it sounds like you don't think anything's wrong. Why is that?
I'm not the one who thinks El Salvador is a prison. Idiot.
Well, CCOT in El Salvador is the place that they are sending people to. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate the engagement. Every little bit helps me get some internet points. So thanks, Bernie. Yeah. So as a Jewish person, let's keep running down how H-Man and this guy are exactly the same. So we've been talking for a good 15, 20 minutes already just about how they're so similar. But I still have some more points. Again, if you want to jump on as a guest at any point, you are more than welcome. Let's see. But just to talk about that, yeah, like to talk about some of the similarities with the ghettos or the gulags. For Donald Trump to send people to El Salvador, CCOT, without due process, people keep calling that deportation. That is actually a process called rendition. And rendition is when you spirit away someone without due process to a different location, state, or country that has more lenient interrogation or treatment law. So the humane treatment that we would shy away from here in America, they don't care about that so much there. And so, so there are victims of what's called rendition, not kidnapping, not deportation, rendition. Oh, thanks, Polly. Oh, yay. Thanks, Polly. So that's something to think about. Also something to think about, Auschwitz, to my Jewish friend who was on, where was that? Auschwitz wasn't in Germany. Auschwitz was in Poland. So how is that not a parallel that we should pay attention to, dearest? Another thing is that we were just talking about the North American expansion that Trump is trying to do. That's very similar to how H-Man wanted to find more living space, or Lebensraum, I don't know German, sorry. And that's why he tried to invade Poland, Russia, and facilitated the genocide of the Slavs, who don't get talked about, and the Jews. And so, it's quite a few parallels. We also have that they both surround themselves with criminals, fraudsters, and extremists. They both had a personal legal advisor to justify their dismantling of democracy. They both use a propaganda minister to control public messaging and spread disinformation. You wonder how, after any of these incompetencies happen, they're so quick to come back with messaging. They have their messaging on lock, even if they don't have their intelligence in place. It's crazy. So H-Man had Joseph Goebbels. He controlled Nazi propaganda. He spread lies about enemies and glorified Hitler. Steve Bannon, Steve Miller are who Trump has, and they push extreme messaging from all the way from back when he did the Muslim ban to the stolen election stuff to now with why Signalgate's not a big deal. It's crazy. They both encouraged violent paramilitary groups to suppress opposition and intimidate critics. H-Man had the brown shirts, or the SA. I think we talked about some of that, so let's keep going. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that H-Man had his own J6. There was a fire that happened that he took advantage of in the same way. Make America Great Again came from H-Man. What's another one? They both are wanting to rewrite textbooks and the education of children. Trump's now pushing patriotic education. Oh, hello. Hi, Polly.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just got home. I was helping a friend build furniture today.
You are so handy.
Well, and it was real furniture, like the kind your parents buy, that real heavy stuff. Oh, God.
Nice.
Yeah, whatever.
Is that like another skill you possess, or were you just helping, or
putting together furniture? Well, I mean, it's not hard. Oh, you mean like building? Oh, no. You mean like making furniture?
Yeah.
No, girl, stop. Come on now.
I wouldn't put it past you. Okay.
I could probably build a cabin if I needed to, but that's about it. But
I believe it.
So I was listening to you a little bit as I was coming home, and I've been waiting on someone to kind of do something like what you're doing, right? Talk about the similarities. They're heavy. I'm putting groceries away while I'm talking to you, if that's okay. But I have heard some people try to do it, right? But they've done it with this angry tone. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to this. I I want to just hear people talk about this, this mess that we're in. Um, and I also heard the young man that was on just before I came on, and he was saying he was Jewish and he wanted to know when he was going to be sent to the ghetto. And I couldn't, of course, I wasn't up there, so I couldn't say anything. But the reality is, he's missing the point. He's completely missing the point. The idea is how alike are these two individuals? What playbook are they playing from? Right? That's the thing. And if you don't see, I know you do, but if you don't see the separation of people and races and things that are going on, then you're blind. Because the reality is, I mean, we talk about El Salvador, but what we're seeing is the majority, or we're seeing a lot of our Latino brothers and sisters, right? And Native American, because they can't tell the difference. I don't know why. I mean, whatever.
Right. And Puerto Rican.
Right. How embarrassing is all of that? Thank you very much. I'm like, they don't even look alike. Stop. But, we're seeing them just be picked up. I mean, as a matter of fact, just what was it, yesterday? No, yesterday was, yesterday. It was yesterday when Virginia governor talked about how they had picked up 521 people.
Oh my God.
Ready to ship them to El Salvador or wherever they're going to go, is what he said. And he put out a memo, and he said that the Commonwealth of Virginia is partnering with the ICE services, and we are going to be the symbol for the nation. We're going to set the standard on how to catch people that should be, that are here illegally and those things.
Wow.
And so there's that, number one. He said that. He put it in writing. And then today I was looking at the CBO report, because I'm a geek and I read that kind of stuff, right?
What is
CBO?
The CBO? Yeah.
The congressional, not the congressional, the budget office. Yeah. So I get all those, weekly readings, because that's what you do when you're over 60. Is you get all those mail lists and things, right? And I'm always curious about the budget office, because that's where you will really find out what is being put forth to Congress, because they have to get the budget for it before they can vote on it, right? So there were two things that stood out. Number one, and I had a good laugh at this one. It's a House resolution, whatever the number was, and it was to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and the cost associated with changing all of the maps, all of the books, all of the legislation that formerly said Gulf of Mexico. So that was the first thing.
Signage. Does that include like DOT stuff?
Everything.
Wow.
So that's that. Now, he can't do that. Those are international waters. But let me just not say anything. Then the other one, and this was the one that I made sure I read to everyone this morning, like when I did my morning ramble and stuff, was the House resolution put forth to restructure the American government.
Whoa. Tell me more.
See, this is why you have to listen to my ramble. No, people are asleep when I'm rambling. Don't worry about it. But so it's what, as a matter of fact, let me get the number for you. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm sure I have it pulled up in here now that all the,
while you're looking that up, as much as you look at the CBO, I'm probably looking at the EOs. And did you see the one about DC, beautifying DC?
Sure did.
And how stuffed in between, we want new trees planted, and between, we want to clean up the streets and have more street cleaners. And we want to hire a bunch of new policemen, but not the current Capitol Police. But we want to open it up to people from all over the country. In other words, hey, J6ers, come here and you get a free job protecting the Capitol like you really were intended to do. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Well, they also get to, there's a thing in here, I've got it up now. I keep these things close. So the Gulf of America Act is HR 276. The other one is, where is it? Here it is, HR 1295. It is the Reorganizing Government Act of 2025. And what it does is it gives the president the authorization to create a plan to reorganize the government and submit the plan to Congress under an expedited legislative procedure. And he has until December 2026 to do this. Yes, ma'am. And so this is why this is why.
Unitary executive in writing.
And that's why I get all these little, notifications and things that come into my email box because I want to know.
Yes.
And also there's one in here. There's all sorts of things in here. Like there's the Protect Children Act.
Oh my God.
Well, that one has to do with protecting children from gender reassignment before the 8th grade. Wow. I'm like, whatever. Wow. No Paydays for Hostage Takers Act. He does have one in here, or not he, but they. There is one in here that talks about refusing admittance to what are they called? Hold on, where is it? Shoot. I can't think of what are they called? When they come from another country, they're dignitaries. They come over here, they work at the embassies. We go over there, we work at the embassies. Where's that one? It's targeted to Yemen. Hold on.
Oh God.
I can't find it. Anyway, there's that one.
But here's the thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
No, you did not. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, we are so far beyond the law at this point. Like it's like he's not. And I know we can't always do what they do. Like you saw how Ellen did the salute, and then that priest tried to do the salute, and that lady tried to do, and they all got fired, and they all lost their jobs. We can't do what they do. I get that. But for him to completely flout the law, I kind of feel like I wish we could speak to the policemen, the ICE agents, the military, and say, listen, if you don't want to be following in this guy's footsteps, if you don't want to look back on history and say, oh, wow, how could those Germans, be in those camps, unaliving those people? How could those Germans have gone to those homes and pulled those people out of their houses to even put them on those trains? How could they have taken that step, and show them that this is what you're doing? When you surrounded Rumesa,
but they know that.
That's what they're.
But they know that. They know that.
They do. But
there's. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say. So the thing that I don't get is why, if they're gonna be putting these laws out, literally it's just for them to be able to have the permission structure, like the excuse to do the racist, transphobic, whatever thing that they just want to do. But so then I'm wondering why we don't, I don't know, like why do we not fight at whatever level we can? Like, even if it's just like.
We do.
I will say I'm seeing it more. Like, wasn't there a gentleman they tried to get? And all his people came and they surrounded him, and then they were taking pictures. So I think we're getting on the board of, you got to stop illegally or illegally, you got to stop at the bottom level, because we can't do anything about Congress. We can't do anything about the president, but we
Well, you
can.
can. Actually, you can. So,
Please.
first of all, the occupant of the Oval Office does not rule by executive order, right?
Mhm.
He doesn't. He can't. He cannot
But
rule.
he does, though.
Hold on.
They
He
do.
doesn't. No, what he's doing is he is ignoring the Supreme Court.
Right.
That's what he's doing.
Right.
And that has happened in history before. People, presidents have ignored the Supreme Court. And if you look on the wall of the Oval Office, you'll see the portrait of two presidents who actually did that. Andrew Jackson and Polk did it. The Supreme Court explicitly ruled against Andrew Jackson.
With the Trail of Tears.
Well, it wasn't the Trail of Tears. Yeah, okay, we'll say that. But it was the moving of the indigenous people out of Georgia who had replicated the American government, right? They had everything exactly the same. And the president said, well, that's what you all say, as talking to the Supreme Court, and said, but now how are you going to enforce it? And he sent, the soldiers down there. And we've also been in a place before where we have had all of these tariffs. And if you remember,
what did Polk do?
Polk did, let me see. Oh, you're going to make me get up and go back in there.
No. I just didn't know if you know at the top of your head. I'm sorry.
I don't know off the top of my head, but there was a decision and Polk did that. Polk did the same thing, not for indigenous people, but I will find out and I will DM you because I had it on the tip of my tongue when I talked about it.
No worries. But what were you saying about the tariffs? Thanks, Kathy. Hey.
And so we did the tariffs before as well. And remember, that's how we started our Great Depression.
Right.
If you look at
the Smoot Hawley.
Smoot, yeah, that thing. So we've done all this before. History is just repeating itself. And those who, what is it? People that don't remember history are doomed to repeat it. Well, these people have never known history. So what do you expect?
Well, that's the crazy thing is, like, even just the folks who've been talking to tonight, they know it and they see it, but it's like you said, they don't care. They genuinely think it's not gonna touch them. Like Bernie, the Jewish guy, he's like, it's not touching. They're not messing with me. I haven't seen them touch any Jews. Here's the thing, though. I'm not only on TikTok. No, what were you saying?
No, I was just going to say, has he seen how Netanyahu's forces have treated the Hasidic Jews in Israel? Has he seen that?
Right. But not only that, but I'm on Gab. I'm on Rumble. I'm on True Social. I'm on Locals. I'm on Kick. I'm on all these alt-right, alt-tech, spaces. They don't like you. They don't like you. Anything they say is a problem. It's because of the Jews. It's because, I better watch my mouth. But so they literally, they hate you. They hate me. They hate you. They hate women. They hate trans people. They hate gay people. They hate everybody. And the thing about it is, they only like Trump because they think he hates the people that they hate. But he also hates them. He hates them too. He doesn't like poor people. He doesn't like uncouth, poor-looking, bad-dressed people. He doesn't like poor white trash. He doesn't like any of that. So it's so crazy. Thank you. Use. Thank you.
Kathy is amazing. But anyway.
Oh, hey, Kathy.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Thank you for the follow.
She's
following
amazing.
you back, girl. But yeah, so I'm just saying that, we're seeing why this is happening. I'm hearing all these people come up and they want to act like we can still be in this space where they can, gaslight us or think that their gaslighting is working, and we can't indulge them anymore. We just can't indulge that anymore. Like, we have to move on. We have to address the fact that we are in a constitutional crisis. We are in full-blown authoritarianism, if not fascism. So how do we move forward? What do we do next? How do we survive this? And then what do we want to see after this? Because honestly, I was just saying, oh my gosh, thank you, Kathy. Oh, that's so sweet. But I was just saying, like, if Kamala Harris were to come with some evidence today that things were rigged in the election and she's the actual president and she was put into office this second, like, there's still no coming back from where we are. Like,
I agree.
we're too far gone. And then even if there was, like, do we really want to go back to the same system that got us here in the first place, or that was
I agree.
steeped in systemic racism, or that allowed for the Roe versus Wade to be overturned, or that like, I just think America was gone well before any of this. But the fact that we are, explicitly going down the tubes is I just think it calls for a different conversation. So, Polly,
I think it does as well. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna say, so how would you recommend we prepare, and what kind of a society would you like to see when we come out from under the ashes of all this?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to buy an island. And you all can do whatever you want. No, I'm joking.
You mean I can't come? I'm not invited.
I think that I would like to see, there was a time, yes, racism has always been here, but there was a time when in America we had more of a sense of community, right? And I wish that we had more of a sense of community. And so that's the easiest thing. But I'm also a big believer in taxing corporations. I'm a huge believer in that. Now, what the current administration is leaning towards, and we'll see if they do this, is they want a true minimum wage. And a true minimum wage is zero. Is $0. I've heard the pundits, people from the Heritage Foundation and people like that debating on Capitol Hill, and this was some years ago under a different administration, but they would debate and they would talk about minimum wage, right? And they would talk about how the fact is that true minimum wage is zero, and that if that's what a business can afford to pay is $5 an hour, then $5 an hour is what it is, which is not right. That's not going to work, because if we have a minimum wage of, I don't know, let's say it's $8, right? Because it's $7.50 now. So let's say it's $8, right? Then where's a person going to find housing, right? Because we can't build affordable housing quickly enough. The multifamily complexes and stuff, we can't build those fast enough. So now they're cutting funding for that, right? So what we have to do is we have to look at our society, and we have to realize that we need to make an affordable society for people to live in.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. And
Kathy
we have to realize that. Oh yeah, food. Yeah, food's insane. That's how we got the whole HUD and all those other places, was because we had nothing but a bunch of flop houses for people to live in, the destitute people. Oh, it was horrible here. It was horrible, right? And so that's when we started with this whole thing about, everybody deserves a roof over their head and food in their stomach. That's what it was. But we've lost that sense, right? We think that if you just get out and you work hard, then you can make it. But that doesn't happen for everybody.
No.
And until they realize that, then that's where we're going to be stuck. And we have to have things like social services, or we have to provide a living wage for people who are able to work. And then we have people who can't work, right?
Right.
And we have to take care of them. That is what we have to do. So, I mean, the whole decimation of the FDA, which is right out of
Oh my
Mr.
God.
H's book as well,
Yep.
because that, of course, affects what is it, the stuff you feed the babies, the Similac or whatever
The
it is you feed
formula?
babies. Yeah,
Oh.
right. It affects that, and so what it
And
does
all
is it
medication, every
right,
single last drug. Yep.
and it forces women to then breastfeed, right?
Mhm.
And so if you're breastfeeding, you're at home, which is where they
Mhm.
want you to be, not working, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
I think they're doing better because they've been pushing breastfeeding so hard. They are doing better about having refrigerators and pumping rooms and all. But honestly, I literally just saw a woman who was this, and it made me so sad. But it was a woman who was talking to, I guess, Congress or her local state government. I don't know. But she was basically saying how we need to change the regulations about pushing breastfeeding because her little baby boy passed away because he wasn't getting enough nutrients and she couldn't tell that he wasn't getting enough nutrients from, so not everybody can breastfeed,
right. But they'll
and
say
so,
it's God's will.
oh God, yeah, it's insane. They're insane.
Yeah. But remember, when we talk about Mr. H and we talk about the people, the German nationals that existed through that, there are documentaries. I just watched one last year where they were having a conversation with individuals who actually lived through that period, not in the camps or anything, but actual nationals, German nationals, right? And their thoughts on all of that. And did they know, and this, that, and the other. And I cannot tell you how many of them said they deserved it. Or, yeah, what Mr. H did was correct. Oh, yeah.
Wow. But look at the people here. Oh yeah,
I
get
mean,
them out.
that's what I'm saying.
Illegals.
It's the
Even the
same thing.
Hispanic people
Well,
voting
but
against their own
yeah.
community. Yeah.
But see, remember, the current occupant of the Oval Office says that those illegal immigrants, or well, that's not what he calls them, but you know what I mean. They're taking black jobs.
Right. Right.
Hmm. Now,
Somebody
if you
said that
think,
that's. I'm sorry. Go
if
ahead.
you, no, all I was going to say was if you think I'm going outside to pick an orange, pick a blueberry, pick a potato, are you kidding? I barely will pick them up in the store. Okay.
Right.
I'm not
Oh my
picking
gosh.
shit.
Yeah.
So anyway.
No, I was just gonna say on that point, someone said I can't be credited for this genius insight. But somebody said that basically the point of getting rid of Hispanics is to sharpen that contrast and division between white and black because it's easier
Correct.
to basically maneuver and control one race and also basically that prevents them from becoming the minority faster.
Right. Right.
And so if they can keep us the minority, make it so that the only things we can do are those types of jobs and whatnot, then they have much more control over us, just like they used to when America was gray, right? So, I believe it, but I never put that together. That's another benefit in it for them is the less brown people, the more you can shit on black people. So,
well, and his whole thing he wants to do with the indigenous population, right?
What's that?
Tell
What's he
them.
talking about?
Well, so he's got this case for birthright citizenship going before the Supreme Court. So they'll hear the oral arguments on the 15th of May. But the thing is, what he said that I don't hear anybody talking about. I mean, a lot of us have heard it, but everybody hasn't apparently. But he questioned the Americanism of the indigenous population. And he stated, he said, because aren't those reservations nations, sovereign nations?
What?
Yep. And some of them are.
I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
bad that so many indigenous people were getting caught up in these ice raids and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's worse. He's got
Okay.
plans. Because
Well,
see, if he can say, and another president tried this some time ago, but if he can say people that are indigenous are the citizens of their nation, right?
mhm.
Then that means that any funding that they receive, they don't need any funding from us. They're a sovereign nation.
Wow.
I mean, if you think the way he's thinking, right? If you
Yeah.
think out that far, right? That's how he can do that. And he can say they are citizens of their reservation.
Ooh,
Oh, I
that's
don't put
wild.
anything past those people. Mm-mm.
No, I mean the whole point of birthright citizenship in the first place was to
Hmm.
naturalize Black people.
He says that. Well,
But people don't seem to realize that. They think it's all about um, brown folks coming
oh
in and
yeah.
having babies, and that's what they think they're attacking. What
Hmm.
they're but it just speaks to then that his vision literally is us going back to
Hmm.
the fields. You
Well,
know.
I think one of the things he wants to do is oh, the squirrels are here. One of the things I got to throw some nuts out for him. But I think that one of the things that he wants to do with Black people in the armed forces is to make them invisible. And I'll tell you how he's going to do that. It's really easy. Hold on. He's out there. There you go. They're spoiled. They get walnuts, they get almonds, they get
Oh,
pecans. This is why I'm broke all the time. But
those are some good nuts.
um so there was a time in the armed forces when the only jobs that Black people could do were the unseen jobs, swabbing the deck, being a cook, those types of things. Of course, now we're out there, right? You've got generals and all these kinds of things. But when I saw them not recruit from the largest um, new engineers group in the nation, when he said you will not go there and recruit, Hegseth said this for Trump, for the person in the Oval Office. The recruiters were upset because they said, this is where we get qualified engineers from,
Mm.
right? But that's considered DEI. So what can happen, okay, is
Mhm.
that they will be relegated to these unseen jobs, right? And he also, I don't know if I've said this to you before, but I've said it to someone. They've already put out new grooming standards. So if you're a person that gets razor bumps or those hair
Oh.
bumps on your face,
Mhm.
then you'll be separated for appearance reasons.
What?
Uh-huh. They will give you a
And who is
year.
that? And who is that mainly?
Oh, exactly. And so
Wow.
they said that they will give you a year to treat it medically or get it under control or whatever, but then you'll be separated. And then they said something about keloids. If keloids are
What?
obvious, you will not be able
Wow.
to meet the grooming standards.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. That's just blatant.
Hmm.
Like blatant, blatant.
See, this is what happens when you're 16. You don't do anything but get all those little news reports.
But it's just crazy. And again, if they're going to be lawless, I just, I'm fine with being lawless too. Oh, I can't do this anymore. Oh, I can't go in this bathroom. I'm like the fact that there's this whole trans thing with the bathroom. I personally, if I were still in America, I would go to the men's bathroom only ever. And if you question me about it, oh, because I'm a man, you want to see my swinging dick? Here, I'll show you. I don't give a fuck. I will literally anything that I can do to be subversive, I will do.
Hmm.
I don't know. It just seems so weird to me that we don't break these laws in mass that are
Well, you've got a
just
country,
seemingly crazy.
but you've got a country that's been beat down. this country, the citizens of this country have been slowly but surely beat down, and their expectations have been diminished for so long that this is just normal to them. This is just one more thing.
But that's
It
like
really is.
the frog in the pot
And the hot water, yeah,
situation.
that's exactly what it is. It's exact, and that they started that with our educational system.
Exactly.
You know, people don't read books. People don't get together and talk history.
Yeah. But what's so funny about that metaphor or that analogy? Did you know that in that real experiment, it wasn't just a frog they put in a pot? They literally ran all these different controls, and then they would also start taking away pieces of brain tissue.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't until they took away something like 50% of the frog's brain that it actually would just sit in the pot and boil. But control frogs would jump right out, you know? As soon as it got a little hot, oh no, I'm not done. So it speaks to what you're saying. They started with the education system. They started with, removing books, and they started with even starting with the trans community as the first people that they're starting to test out all these like authoritarian rules on, and where you can and can't go, and how we're gonna dictate what's on your documentation and all this stuff. That's just a precursor, but that's just them cutting away at the America's brain, cutting away. So then by the time, it's like you said, the water's too hot. We don't even have the brain matter
Right.
to be able to jump out. So, I mean, and that's honestly the point. Like literally standwithsophie.com. That's the point of all this, is to try and salvage as much brain matter as possible, and use it to envision what we want to see when we do jump out of the pot. Because again, we can't, it's garbage right now, and it was garbage before, and we can't go back to that. Like I don't see how we can trust democracy, essentially majority rule, when the majority gave us this. And I don't see how we can have democracy in the sense that we vote for things, when when they do so much to negate our votes, when they gerrymander, when they have voting laws, when they have all this voter suppression, when even if the vote is real, they'll say it's rigged. So what the fuck is the point of a democracy? That's the point, is that we have people, that we vote. So if that's bullshit, how do we go back to that? We're a republic, right?
It doesn't have to be, but it doesn't have to be bullshit, right? I mean, have you read Carol Anderson's book, One Person, No Vote?
Hey, Kathy, I'm pulling you up. I have not. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, we read it on a live. Carol, oh, it's okay. I don't think I knew you at that time, but it's about voter suppression throughout the ages, right? And it talks about things that have been done in Texas, and I don't mean stuff like the poll tax or anything like that. I'm talking about stuff they really do, like having an all-white election. You have to read this book.
What?
Yeah, we that's why we read it. And I'm telling you, I'm surprised I didn't get banned from this app on that one. Boy, we had a tough time.
Tell me the title one more time.
It's
They better not ban you.
Yeah, you're so funny. It's One Person, No Vote. Don't worry, I'll DM you. I'll DM you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's Carol. Actually, you should read all of Carol Anderson's books. She's a Black woman. She's PhD. She does a book on the Second Amendment that is out of this world. And I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to read that one on TikTok yet. But because that may do me in.
How many strikes do you have at this point?
Oh no, I've worn them all off. I think they found other people to focus on. but I have a backup account and I'm trying to get another one because
Oh my God.
I'm like, they're going to take me down. They're going to take me down. They're going to take me down. But anyway. But
But
Kathy
again,
is a.
stand with Sophie.com.
Oh, I know. I
We have
signed
a
up.
forum. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, tell
Okay.
them. Yeah, we got a forum. We have secure comms. We have literally a whole message board. So there's plenty of places to like share
Yeah.
information and pull us together. And we're still such a baby website. Like it's only a few people on there right now. So I really want to grow it so we can start to learn from each other and share these
Right.
recommendations and build this community. So yeah, I'm gonna try to keep shamelessly plugging. The last thing I wanted to say was with the fact that we are a republic as well. Like we can't, republic just means that we have we're a representative government where we have people who speak for a large majority of people. That's it. But in this day of the internet and polling and secure and encrypted information and stuff, like I don't see why we need to have that these days when I get when you had the Pony Express back in the day in Western Union and there was no phones and I get that you needed one person in place to represent an entire state because they couldn't communicate with Washington DC in that same way. But do we really need one person to represent a large group of folks? I don't see that we couldn't have some kind of world what do you call it, like ambassador or something, but they should not and do not need to have the same level of power or authority as any president, congressman, senator, governor these days. I think we can find so many ways to collectively express what we want to happen with our tax dollars. We can vote with our money in different ways if we want to vote on anything. But yeah, that's my last point. I just think that all of the structures that make up America today are so antiquated and so over and have led us to exactly where we are now. But I'm going to shut up for a second. Kathy, please introduce yourself and what's your take on all this?
Oh, no, I agree with, what you guys are saying. 100%. We've really got to revamp something because it's not working.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's not. Well, we still have people who think that, oh God, if I hear this one more time, our government is based on the Iroquois. It's not.
No, it's not.
It was I'm like, do you know all the consulting and all of the things they looked at to come up with our government? It filled a 3-volume set of books. But you tell that
Wow.
to people and they're like, what? I'm like, okay, I'll just be quiet now. Because I don't know. And people think the Iroquois is one tribe. I'm like, no, it's a
No, it's a whole
confederation.
nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a confederation.
Yeah.
I don't know. But see, that's what I'm saying. If the people that we deal with don't, I mean, we have people that can't even balance a budget. Come on.
Right?
Right.
I don't know
They
how
can't
we're
even
gonna.
balance their own budgets, let alone
I think
that of a government or a state.
I think, I mean, I don't mind so much the government, the way it's set up and blah, 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 blah. I don't mind all of that. What I do mind is the fact that they forget about the majority of Americans and they focus on the 1%.
Mm-hmm.
That's what bothers
Exactly.
me, I think. That's
They
what bothers
do.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after the call we got, I don't think you heard this previous gentleman, but after the call, yeah, that's okay. We'll put it on before you go to bed. Go to bed, actually. I'll do it when I go upstairs. Bye. I'll see you in a bit. Sorry, but yeah, but the guy was like, yeah, the most discriminated against people now are white men and this and that, and I'm like, so not only do you not give a shit about the marginalized, but now you want to be and think that you are the marginalized. Like it's,
Right.
and then you want us to treat you like you're the victim in all this. And it's like, no, I'm not the victim. That's what you literally just said, sir. I'm listening to what you just said, you know? And so it's insane to me. You're right. Like, you know, that the 1% wants you to feel sorry for them for being the 1%. I don't get, like, even Elon Musk on TV crying about how
Yeah,
long
they
his
are. They're
stock
trying
is
to flip
doing.
it.
Like,
They're
it's
trying
like,
to flip it to them.
like, yeah, like they're the victims. It's
Well,
crazy.
Elon was trying to play victim. He was actually crying
Yeah,
that
literally.
people
Lord
are
help us.
destroying his, his Tesla stock and his Teslas.
This Tesla.
Yeah, no, he really was. He was crying. He was
Good old
crying about
Ellen.
that.
You know, I heard someone, gosh, I need to find this clip, but there was a dignitary from another country, and somebody asked him what he thought of Ellen, and he said point blank, Ellen is doing all of this because he wants to take down the departments and things that are holding him accountable for the mess that he's putting out. And
Oh,
he's
he's
doing that
done.
through the Oval Office. And when he's done, he's going to take down the man in the Oval Office. And I'm here for it.
Ooh,
I am here for it.
Yeah, me
I don't know
too.
about that. Cause he's, I don't know about that because I don't think that like in the same way that Trump doesn't really care about anything other than the grift of it all. I think Elon's the same, or Ellen is the same way. I think he really just wants to maximize like his profits, his money, his income, and I think he sees the writing on the wall for him. I think he sees that he's very unpopular. That if he were to try to do a coup, not only would that be unconstitutional because he's not an American citizen.
Yes, he is.
I mean,
Yes,
well,
he
he
is.
wasn't born in America. I'm sorry, but you have to be born here to be president. And I think that maybe that's why they're trying to flout these laws, and that's why we're in a constitutional crisis, and why they're ignoring the judiciary, so we can basically say we can do whatever the fuck we want. So I can see how that is not outside the realm of possibility, but I just think that that would be a bit too far for the American people.
I think it might be too far for the American people, but it's not too far for Ellen. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Remember, who is the front runner to build the Golden Dome and the missile defense system for the Golden Dome?
Starlink.
And who is building a factory in Mexico to produce the robots?
Oh, Tesla.
Ellen. Yeah. That's why they want to do that soft attack, quote unquote. Oh yeah, no, that's what he's doing. And that's why they're talking to Italy about having Starlink, right? Take over their systems as well.
Oh, didn't they just shut that down?
I don't know. I haven't looked at the news today.
I think they were like, no, we're not doing it.
I hope so. I saw her say that we haven't talked about it, but that's all I heard, because after the reading I went to build furniture. Anyway.
Right. I mean, and I could be wrong, but
no, it's all good. It's all good.
It's crazy. But I mean, I don't know. Kathy, how are you feeling in this moment? Because I know I'm sounding an alarm, but I'm honestly not trying to be alarmist. Like,
yes, she is. No, I'm joking.
I mean, I'm more worried about, my kids and their kids. And, it's going to be it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So it's kind of scary for them,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried about young people. I'm worried. I'm worried about young people. I'm worried about people who are considering going in the armed forces at this point. Did you see the interview with Hegseth? Did you guys see that?
Role?
He had an interview, And he kept saying, he sounded like a brand new junior drill instructor motivating somebody to run and jump on a rope and swing over a mud puddle.
Oh no.
What
He
interview
was
was this?
I was listening to it on the way home. Let me find it. But what he was saying, what did he say? Oh, I know. He said, we have to get back to war fighting because I
Oh
am
yeah,
a
that's his
warrior
speech.
and we, did you hear all that? Yeah.
That's
And
his
I was
Wow.
speech.
like, he's not talking like a leader. He's talking like a new
Monster.
recruit. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like, that's not how you lead an army. That's not how you lead. But
No, and to think that he's the head of the military is really horrible.
Mm-hmm.
who you
Wow.
telling?
And then
I
you
hope
saw the
people don't
national
go in.
security lady got her bag
Yes.
stolen
I'm like, you can't keep up with your purse. I can
with
keep up
your
with my
phone in
purse.
it.
With your phone, your ID, and $3,000.
Right, with your phone that you undoubtedly have like signal chats on with like,
Right?
people you're not supposed to. You know
I,
what?
you
Maybe
know,
somebody's gonna do a good service and actually show what she's got going on there. Who knows?
Right?
yeah, I don't know.
They can
I
wipe
think,
those remotely though.
yeah, they can, but still, it's just, you can't keep up with your freaking phone. You
Yeah,
can't
it's
keep up
very
with your
telling.
White House pass. I'm sorry. You can't keep up
Mm-mm.
with your
Her
security
passport.
pass.
Her
Right?
passport.
Wait, it was worse than the passport. It was the passport, the $3,000,
Mhm.
the phone, but her pass to the White House,
Yeah,
her badge.
yeah.
I'm like,
It's
okay,
Right.
crazy. And who carries around that much money? Like what? What are you doing?
well, not us. We don't.
No, we don't have that.
Not us.
Not me.
What's her name does? Who was the lady in Georgia? The AG in Georgia?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah, who took Trump to task?
Okay, I know who you
Well, you
mean.
know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Um, they asked her why she had so much cash money. She said, my father told me that I needed to have this much cash at all times. And he got
Wow.
on the stand, he said the same thing because her dad is old school South,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
right? That says you will have this much money. And they asked her, and she said, I got about $8,000 or $10,000 cash.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Must be
I'm
nice, right? Must be.
right. I'm like, I have $2.
You know what? You know what? That's one of the things that I have on my recommendations. Like, start pulling as much money as you can, like in
hmm
cash.
Yeah,
Not to carry around with you all the time,
right.
but however much you can actually just have in some bills that you can keep stowed away as like an emergency fund.
And small
Um,
Hmm.
bills.
yeah, there's certain things you can start to just accumulate. Again, I'm not here trying to be like a prepper with Stan with Sophie. I'm just trying to be like, here's some things that you might want to do. You might want to start getting your hey voice. I'm losing my voice, I think, but you might want to start getting like refills just slightly earlier than you might have, so you can start to
hmm
stockpile your medications a
Yeah.
little bit. Um,
hmm
like literally just start thinking, have a little a go bag ready, go ahead and think about
hmm
what you'll do when the internet's cut or if it's cut. Start thinking about what
I
you're gonna
hmm
think
do if the power's cut.
I
you
think
know
also some kind of way to get water because you never
yes,
know what's going to happen with the water.
hey, that's
hmm
on my gear list on Stand with
hmm
Sophie. It's a life straw, and
Yeah.
basically you
I
can
love
pour water
those.
into it and it'll filter it for you. So
hmm
absolutely, that's a very good point.
You
But
can
um
also
what
go
I
ahead.
couldn't believe, ladies, is the fact that they say we can't collect rainwater. Like, oh, I'm collecting rainwater.
There are
wait,
some
what?
states, yeah, there are some places that do not allow you to collect rainwater.
That's so
Why?
crazy to me.
What?
It has to do with whatever the city codes are in some places. They don't
That's
allow you to
crazy.
do it. Yeah, I agree. I agree
Wow.
100%.
Some people who have gone off grid, again, I'm not saying go off grid, but some people who have gone off grid, like rainwater is such an integral part of their, was it
It
gray
is.
water? potable water and gray water and rainwater is like all part of their system. So they're literally shutting that possibility out for some people. But again,
But
that's one
that's
of those laws
natural.
where I would
Like
literally
that's a
be like,
natural
I'm
thing
breaking
that
that law
comes.
and fuck you, you know, like.
I
It
think
comes from
that
the sky, like it's natural. Like you really gonna not let us get the water? I was like, oh my God.
well, rainwater does still need to be,
It does.
especially if you live near a city, it does
Yeah.
still need to be
I
filtered
was just about
because
to
of
say,
all
like,
the
don't
crap
just
we
drink
have.
that.
Yeah, don't just drink it.
It does.
And,
It
Yeah.
and
does.
here's the thing: if that was the reasoning, they could literally just put out a PSA, or anybody who's purchasing like one of those cisterns, they could literally have some kind of federally mandated signage put on it. You know, like, but the fact that they're banning it altogether lets you know that that's not what they're worried about. You know,
Right.
so you know, again, that's all these laws like, oh, you can't do this, and literally, like the people they're firing, like I love how some folks are still going to work. Like, okay, like I'm you don't know what I'm doing is saving lives or whatever. Still going to work, and then the lawsuits vindicate them later, but they never stopped working. You know, like I like when people are you know, hearing the ridiculousness and just ignoring it because it's so stupid. Hi, Chris.
Right. I tell people, I know you've got the life straw on your thing, which is great. The life straws are great. I have a few of those. But I tell people to get a Berkey. I have a Berkey in my home, and it's a water filter system. And
Okay.
you can get, you can get it mega big, or you can get it as small as a regular water bottle. But people that live in vans and stuff, they usually use Berkey water filters. And
Oh,
it's
that's
not,
good.
yeah, it's not expensive, but you can actually do the brown water to clear drinkable water.
Oh
So
wow.
It sounds
Okay.
like the volume is bigger because the life straw is literally like for a
yeah,
personal
right, yeah,
cup. So that's good. Voice,
yeah.
I'm bringing you up.
I am going to drop. I'm supposed to be in a. Okay, wait, don't laugh, y'all.
Oh, but
I'm laughing already.
can I
I'm
tell you
sorry.
one thing before you leave?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I am reading the complete Francis Harper. It is amazing.
Oh, wow. So, are you reading that on live? And what time do you do that?
No, I do it after, after you. I want to hear you. But
No,
no, I've
listen to
just
me.
been,
I
in my
tried to
leisure time, I've been reading it, and oh my God, it's so good.
listen to me trying to plant a seed. I can tune in right after me and listen to you read.
No, no, I don't do it online. I mean, I read it, just reading,
She's
not
not getting
online.
it. No, I hear you. I'm trying to get you to read it online.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, but it's so good. Oh my goodness.
Okay,
That's a
all
good
right.
book.
That sounds like a great thing.
It is.
Yeah, so I thought I'd just share with you all that I'm out. Um,
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
on my way to God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to meet with a group of communists.
Okay.
Nice.
And we're getting ready to watch a documentary about revolution.
Oh, that's gonna be good. You're
You
gonna
have
have a
to
good
like
time.
report back, okay?
Yeah,
Angela
I will.
Davis. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Let's
know.
go.
Yeah, right? I know, right? I don't
Yeah.
know what the movie's about, but I'm gonna go hang out with this group of communists, so we'll see how it goes. I'll tell you all
Okay.
about it.
All
All
Exciting.
right.
right. Sounds
I'll talk to you
good.
guys later. Have an
Hey, thank
amazing
you,
Okay.
day.
Miss Polly. Thank
All right,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, that's so sweet. Voice. Hi, welcome.
What up, though? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. What about yourself?
Yeah, doing really, really good. We've been on for a bit now. Kathy just came up too. I feel like we're kind of reaching the folks who want to be reached. You know how when you start off, it's always, them, and then and they want to dominate the conversation with things
Right.
that just don't matter. Like MAGA just, it doesn't matter right now. Like literally we're trying to say that the metaphor we likened it to earlier was that we're up here talking about with them whether the sky is blue or shades of purple or at dusk sometimes it's orange, when the fucking sky is falling.
Right.
It's not the time to discuss, is critical race theory really part of the curriculum, or is it a mindset that most Black people have adopted that's keeping them down because they have a victim mentality, or literally all the bullshit they're talking about? It just does not fucking matter right now. So I think old Sophie would have indulged that a little bit, but the fact that we are in a full-blown constitutional crisis,
Right.
we got to move on to more important things. So that's kind of my.
But they don't see it as a full-blown constitutional crisis. That's the thing about it.
That's exactly what it is.
I told this guy earlier today, I was like, look, either 3 months from now, you're going to be changing your tune, or you're going to be up here defending indefensible.
Right.
And that pretty much lets me know what a person is.
Oh, yeah.
The integrity the person has. Like, okay, so like we were talking about this earlier, we were talking about the tariffs. Now we see Trump is backing off on the tariffs. So the next time I talk to this guy, I want to hear his opinion to see if he has integrity or not.
No, but of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't. Like, and that was my thing. Like, even if I extend you the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, I think you're just genuinely concerned that I'm worried and you don't want me to be alarmed and you don't want me to feel this consternation. So you're just trying to placate me and make me feel comfortable that no, nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. It's going to be okay. It's a little rocky, but yeah, it's going to be okay. So even if I take your, I don't even know what to call it, your ignorance as kindness, what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? Whereas if you hear me sounding the clarion call,
Right.
and I'm wrong, what have you lost? Oh, you got new phone shortcuts. Oh, you changed your passwords. You're double opting in now on your. If I'm wrong, you're just a little bit more secure with your internet personality or your privacy or whatever. That's it. You might have spent some money on, some gear that you might not be using, but how is that in any way, shape, or form preferable to not being ready if you need to be, So
Right.
the fact that he then, of course, moves the goalposts and obfuscates and tries to go, it just lets you know. It's like you said, Voice, like it just lets you know where they are, where their integrity is, what their real objective is. And the fact that they think they're untouchable, so they want to try to convince you that you are too, when they're in actuality not either. It's crazy. So
It is.
yeah, that's me. So I've just been here shamelessly plugging standwithsophie.com because I have my whole survival kit on there with phone shortcuts where you can literally just say a word and automatically your emergency contacts will be sent your location. It'll start recording on your phone automatically. So you're getting.
Oh, I gotta get that. That's cool.
Please do. Standwithsophie.com. You if you're getting rounded up and can't use your phone like they did with Rumesa Ozturk, you literally just say, hey Siri, your code, and then boom, it's gone.
Wow.
I have printable action cards where it prompts you to how to get an attorney and have different pieces of information that you might need on you in case of a detainment or you get pulled over or a raid. We have gear lists, including the water filtration systems and things like that. We have recommended reading. I have every 2 weeks, we do live hands-on training where we look at your exact situation and make a action plan for you and go through your phone hands-on to make sure your vulnerabilities are hardened. We have all kinds of community features and secure comms. And
oh my God, I'm so glad I followed you. Yes.
Oh, thank you for coming on. Clearly, I'm trying to build this because TikTok might not even be around forever. So this is the place we can really build some community offline and in a really safe and secure way. So shamelessly plugging.
Might decide to take it. And wait,
Right?
Trump.
Oh my gosh, exactly. I mean, I'm on Red Note too, and
I am
wouldn't be
too.
mad. Isn't it great, Kath? What do you think about it?
Oh my God, I love Red Note.
It's
And
wonderful.
you know what's so crazy? The people that are on there are so nice.
They're so nice, but the
They
people
are,
on
and
here are just Chinese people. It's not like
they cannot believe what we are living in. Like they're like, oh my God, we thought you were like the greatest country. I said, no, we're not.
and they're so
You know?
militant. Like I see more Luigi Mangione posts on there than I've ever seen on here. Like
Now,
ever.
what are you on Red Note?
Oh, same thing. SX.
Same thing? Okay.
Not with Sophie.
I gotta look you
Not
up on there.
Yeah, add me as a friend because I actually any post that I see that's like, oh, I'm a black woman, and I'm like, follow you and follow everybody commenting. So like, I actually, if you follow me and then follow pretty much all the people I'm following, it's like a black woman, black women who love China, little sort of groups, I guess. But yeah, China's amazing.
What I thought was so cool was how everybody ran to Red Note and they were freaking out because Red Note is a real Chinese app. Like it's not anywhere in America. So they were so shook when we left. Oh my God.
What is Lemon 8? I keep getting these notifications for Lemon 8.
Yeah, it's like
Lemon 8's okay.
you know, Instagram has threads.
It's okay.
I don't do Instagram. I just do Twitter and TikTok.
Well, it's like the threads. What threads is to Instagram is what Lemonade is to TikTok.
Right. And the algorithms are not good. TikTok has a good algorithm. That's why everybody goes here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Lemonade, but I can't say I've ever used it at all. Same way with threads. Like I have threads, but I don't remember directly posting on there much, if at all. Gosh, I feel like I'm on I'm on fan base because that's a black owned.
I am too.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go there a lot. Sorry, voice, what'd you say?
That's Isaac Hayes Jr. site?
Yes. And it's really quite nice. Like it's got some really good you can go live. It's got, basically reels, posts, which are just like Instagram squares, which is fine.
Yeah, it's not bad. I like it over there too.
Yeah. And they're very transparent. Like they're trying to do the same kind of monetizing structure. And what's that shark who's really not Mark Cuban, but oh gosh, I can't think of his name, but he's got like a shark behind him, and they're always doing lives and talking about the investment strategy and stuff. So I love just how open it is, and I really hope it gets to be a little bit more successful. I think they might have missed their window. When TikTok was down and it was really like a threat that it was going to be down forever and this and that, I think they got a lot of followership, but I don't know that they're going to
keep going.
Yeah, I hope they do. And I'm definitely on there and I try to post on there, but
no, I'm on there. I got to look you up. Same name.
I know.
You have the same name on Fanbase?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same thing everywhere. And I'm sex with Sophie because that's kind of what I started as, like teaching people about sexuality and smex, and I don't know if I can say it, and like sensitive subjects and stuff. So in talking about like ABs and trans and LGBTQ and all these different things and women and reproductive health and all that, that overlaps so much with the politics of the day,
It does.
That's kind of how I ended up in this space. And so luckily I don't live in America. I moved to the UK like 3 years ago. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
So I feel like, please let me be your sword and your shield in this moment, because Donald Trump can't deport me to El Salvador. So,
okay.
Let me create content that shits on him and what's happening today, and let me build safe spaces for people to, share how we can survive this and what we want to see happen after the dust settles. So
now, how is the UK?
Oh, it's just the best. Absolutely amazing. I'd highly recommend not only moving here if you can, but just getting the fuck out of America by any
Oh
means
no, I want to.
necessary
I
if
do.
possible.
I
Yeah.
do want to.
I'll be staying. I'm not leaving.
Hey, more power to you, man.
Be safe.
Yeah, just be smart, be safe.
Oh, yeah, I'm staying. I got too much invested here, man. I can't move. You
I
know,
feel you.
I'm gonna turn the lights out when I'm the last one leaving.
Okay.
Oh. Well, I mean, again, we all hope it doesn't come to that, but
Look, I love America,
yeah.
but I don't love everything America does. I feel like it's up to me to change. Do my little part that I can to change it.
Well,
Right.
I don't love
hate it, man.
America.
I love it, man. I just don't like. I just hate things that it does. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't say that I love America at all. I love Americans, most Americans. But America, like when you really take a step back and look at like the one thing they try to say is that, oh, you can be anything, do anything, you can start a business, you could do, but then to move to the UK and see how it feels to actually be a constituent somewhere and to be treated as a real person here and like see how much they help their citizenry and go out of their way to make sure you know about programs and that, oh, did you know you can get 15 hours of daycare free by just going here? Oh, there's a grant over here. Like literally they go out of their way to make sure you are taken care of physically, mentally, financially, with your kids, family. Like it's just so amazing. So
Because America does not do that at all.
no, not at all. So they say they do. They say it's a land of opportunity and dreams. And that's bullshit.
Let me tell you the America's problem. We used to do that until the Civil Rights Act.
But
if you notice,
but again, used to do it for who? Used to do it for who?
That's what I'm saying. But if you notice, ever since it's been a law that you have to have equal protection under the law for all folks, and you can't discriminate. Now you notice America doesn't do the big projects anymore, the big social projects. They don't do land grants anymore.
Because who could get those construction contracts?
Exactly.
Who could get those
Exactly.
jobs?
So they don't do the big projects like they used to do anymore.
They
shoot themselves in the foot to spite their face.
Because if this was a more homogenous society, we would have free health care. The best social safety net programs there is on earth. We all know what it is.
Yeah. The other thing, speaking of the homogeneity, I guess they talk about how America is a melting pot. That's bullshit. It's a tossed salad at best. like at best. Because again, you come to the UK and literally all different shades and shapes and hues and languages and dialects and accents and just like the fucking national dish here is an Indian curry. Like it's
wow.
True diversity, true melting pot here.
That's because UK people can't cook. We got to be honest.
No. Now, see, that's.
No, you're right. No, they can't.
That is propaganda to make you think that this isn't the place to be.
Come on,
British food is fish and chips is banging. Okay, speaking of banging, bangers and mash is banging. Shepherd's pie is banging. Apple crisp, spotted dick. Fucking British food is it's great. Sunday roast, English breakfast. Yo, English food is amazing. People don't let them fool you.
What do they call that when they bake the steak in the when they bake the roast in the bread? Like what do they call that? I
know what you're talking about. What is it? What was it? Beef Wellington or?
Best thing that ever came out of here, food wise, beef Wellington. Now that's good.
I've never even had that.
The beef Wellington is very good.
And that's good. But I mean, it's just their bacon is different. It's like a Canadian bacon almost. It's really, but it's really good. But they still sell what they call stripey bacon. So like you can get all the American stuff here. Eggs here are like 2 pounds, a pound and a half. Like
the food is much better. The quality is much better, and that's one thing Trump was trying to force them to do is take our food with our regulations. Like, no, everybody is not going. You're not going to force them to take our GMO corn. Like, No.
No,
That's
they can't even sell Gatorade over here because it has hydrolyzed corn syrup or something. Like they don't play around with like if it's a carcinogen, the red number, whatever that they just banned in America has been banned here forever.
Wow.
You can't force other
Like
people to live up to
they
your
give a
principles.
shit. They give a shit about their people.
Right.
And I wouldn't even say like to such a great degree. Like there's still issues here. It's not perfect, but like it feels perfect coming from America.
America's the hood of the world. You got to realize, we don't understand that we the hood. I know immigrants that came over here and were like, man, y'all work way too much.
Thank you.
Right.
We the hood of the world. Everything goes here, man. It's crazy. When you step outside here, you look from the outside in, you like, America is crazy.
It's crazy, and it costs too much, and you have to, and everything costs everything, and it's tiring. It's exhausting. Like
Right.
you pay taxes here. They literally you pay a bill and that's it. They tell you what you paid, you pay it. You don't. There's no having to figure it out what you owe, and it like it's just insane. And also the taxes are less. They're less here, and you get national health care. It's just sad. Like coming here it's just made me so happy and so sad, like at the same time. Like, oh my God. It's great. Like this one, she was born at 23 weeks.
Oh.
Okay. 23 weeks. And so we were in the hospital for 4 months. She came home on oxygen. She had to be transported to 3 different hospitals a few different times. One time she had to have a surgery called a retinopathy of prematurity surgery, where they literally laser off veins in her tiny little eyeballs.
Wow.
Only like 3 surgeons in the whole fucking world do this. We had to go to Cambridge, and this world-renowned surgeon saved my daughter's sight, like for fucking free.
Wow.
Free, y'all. Like free. Like that's nuts to me. That's nuts to me. And the whole time they cared about me. Like they made sure they had a room on site for me to be with her. They made sure I ate every day. They got on me about not getting out enough. And I mean, if I wanted to cry or it was overwhelming at any point, they were there for a hug. I mean, it's just the most remarkable experience to be like the worst time of my life. Couldn't have gone any better. It's just crazy. To this day, she's a year and a half, and she still gets like every 4 months her primary physician sees her. She gets physiotherapy, speech and language therapy. She has an occupational therapist. She has what's called a home visitor. It's like a nurse that comes to our house every month to weigh her and make sure she's good. She was on a specialty program called Dolphin, where they gave her this like trial supplement, and like, I mean, like for free.
Wow.
It's insane. So and that's just one thing. Like I broke my leg over here. Like I've literally raped their, I shouldn't say that, but I've taken my part in their healthcare system to such a strong degree. And
gotta head out of here though. It was nice. It was nice talking to you all. I gotta head out. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks so much, Voice. It's good to see you.
You too.
Or hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just.
Oh my God, but that's beautiful that they helped you that much. America would never help like that.
No, I have a friend who literally had her baby at 23 weeks, 5 days, just like her. And I mean, they're doing fine, and it's amazing. But it was just amazing to see the juxtaposition.
Right, and they're going to follow you.
Her and how much stress she was under, and it couldn't have been more of a dream, And she's rich, and I'm like, that's literally the only reason your kid is alive. Great insurance, she's got money, like. I just couldn't imagine if I'd had her there, if I'd had her under perfect circumstances, it still would have cost like $30,000-$40,000,
Oh my God, yeah.
So just, $500,000, $1 million. easy.
But
That's just
America,
the hospital bill.
America's a corporation. We're a corporation. We're not a country. It's
Oh,
a
no,
corporation.
absolutely. It's insane. But oh my God, I've just been, I guess I get passionate about it just because my other daughter, she's 5. She was born at 32 weeks. And
Wow.
so, you know, and she's adopted. So we got her at like 2 days old. So we were there in the hospital for, you know, 2 solid months. So I got the American preemie experience, you know, very cold. Luckily we went through the state, so we didn't have to pay anything because it was through Medicare. But it's almost like because it was through Medicare, like they tried to keep us longer than we needed to be there. They didn't listen to us. I don't know if it's because we were the adoptive parents or they're so clinical and regimented over here. It was just weird, you know. But once we left, I don't think we batted an eye or looked back. We were like Lot, you know. We didn't look back. We were good. Whereas, like, I'm still on the Facebook group. This again, 1.5 years later, I'm still on the Facebook group with the hospital here. They tapped me for an NHS video to share our experience because she was just so young. Like, she was born so early. So I mean, the fact that, like, again, it's 1.5 years later and I'm still like being supported, you know.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is just insane how different it is. So, like, I'm so sorry. I'm just the blabbing, but it's such a stark difference.
Well, you know, I'm taking care of my mom and dad, and it's a little trying, but I'm doing it, you know. So it's I know that because they're 90 and 91, so I know, you know, later on, I know that I'm gonna move. I am not gonna be here. I have to leave America. I was even thinking of Ghana, you know, somewhere.
Yeah.
Caribbean. I mean, I'm going somewhere. I don't know where, but
yeah, I tell people, like, I feel like we have a really idyllic situation here to be in the UK, but literally anywhere. I can't imagine anywhere wouldn't be a step up. And also, like, South America has some really great programs.
Anywhere but here.
Anywhere but there.
Because America is burning right now. It's crumbling. It is.
It's
the dollar is sinking. I mean, it's going down.
Yeah, and it's sad. Nobody wants it. People act like we're happy about this. Like, oh, because you didn't vote for Trump. Oh, you're just happy to see it all burn. Like, no. You know, it's just that we told you this is what was going to happen.
Right. Exactly.
You know, that's all. And so, in that same spirit of, you know, seeing the future.
Right.
Again, that's what this is all about. Just trying to stay ahead of things and be prepared. Just set it and forget it. Just secure your devices. Get your plan in place. Get your stuff.
Yes.
Set it and forget it.
I'm gonna look at, you know, what all the stuff that you have.
Thank you.
It was so good meeting you.
You too. You know, I think I'm gonna wrap it because again, I'm in the UK, so it's like 1:20 in the morning.
Okay, no, go ahead. But no, I will definitely follow you on all platforms.
Thank you. And likewise, like, as soon as I see you, I'm going to follow back. And I think I followed you on here too. I really, really appreciate you coming up. It was so great to talk to you.
Okay. Yes, you too. And enjoy. And the baby's beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. She needs to be sleeping, so we'll go remedy that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It was good meeting you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me to come up. Thank you.
Oh no, my pleasure. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap up this live as well.
Okay.
Because we've been on for quite a while, and I want to thank all the guests who have popped up. Whether you had something to contribute or not, like, it helps my engagement numbers. So even if you wanted to just call me fat, that's perfectly fine. It gives me internet points. And honestly too, like, you know, that leads us into the conversation about how, you know, being able to run and taking care of your health is so important right now. And that's part of some of the things that we discuss over at standwithsophie.com. So all engagement to me is good engagement, and I appreciate it very much. But of course, the people who had such beautiful and productive and positive things to say, like Kathy, like Voice, who started the dude kind of a little bit, like I appreciate his time. But of course, oh my gosh, Polly, and we had quite a few folks on early on too. So thank you for your time, and I just
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I do this because I love you all, and I hope you love one another.
Yes.
But with permission.
We have to.
Okay.
We have to.
With permission.
Much love to you over there in the UK.
Thank you so much. And we'll try to be on weeknightly. So hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everybody.